Hello everyone, and welcome once again to That Time We Woke Up in a Podcast and Had to Explain Manga, our heated adventures overanalyzing manga that we find interesting, better known as the OverMangaCast. This time, join us once again as we dive into the wild world of Chainsaw Man for the final time. That's right, we've completed Tatsuki Fujimoto's rip-roaring series by reading chapters 71 through 97. If you haven't finished Chainsaw Man, beware, we have all of the spoilers going forward. All of them. So, if you want to read it yourself first, don't open the door. Otherwise, let's get into the episode. Normally, here at the head of the episode, we would tell you what our familiarity with the franchise is that we are reading, but if you've gotten to this point, then you are already well aware. Matt here has read the entire thing. Jacob, and I were completely new to it, and now here we are, at the end of the road. And what a road it was.
Finally dragged them all to my level. They are here with me.
Okay, but did you drag us down or up?
Yes.
A little bit of both, I'd say.
I enjoyed it. So I would say, I don't know.
Sideways.
Yes, sideways.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed it too. But yes, this is the last bit of Chainsaw Man. I guess we can just jump right into it. You know, it feels kind of weird to say, but how about we finally go deal with the gun devil?
Nah.
We don't go straight to dealing with the gun devil.
How about we go into immediately dealing with what the crap happened immediately after from where we left off?
Yeah, we go straight into Denji and Power bath time.
Yeah. I love the energy in these scenes just because I know before I was like shipping them so hard. And in the back of my mind, I still do. But there's some serious, brother-sister energy going on. Brother being the older brother who has to drag his very annoying little sister around to do basic tasks. And it's just like, Mom, do I have to? Yes.
Power in this chapter isn't annoying, though. She's suffering post-traumatic stress disorder.
Yes, but it's still somewhat annoying. You can be empathetic, sympathetic.
Yeah,
fair. Denji is annoyed that he has to deal with this.
Yeah, very much so. I don't know. I didn't dislike this, but I don't know that it was the best handle. I think over the course of this, we really do get to see that, like, it's not like they're in love or anything, you know? Like, they have a very genuine sibling-esque, like, friendship to each other that is surprisingly wholesome for this series, which is actually going to be a bit of a refrain going forward.
Yeah, for how absolutely manic this reading got, there was this undercurrent of very genuine wholesomeness, because really the big arcing theme, really throughout the entire manga, but particularly in the reading that we did for today, is Denji coming to grips with emotions other than survival. And, helping out your surrogate sister through an incredibly hard time in her life. Yeah, it's shockingly soft for these two.
It's some really good, emotional power building, and I don't know, maybe I got a very different reading than you guys on this, but, there are certain scenes in this Denji power dynamic where I think the mangaka is explicitly, telling the audience they have no attraction to each other. Like, the ship is not happening.
Oh, yeah.
No, I caught that too.
To stop us from trying, though. How many fandoms do they tell us they're not a ship?
Well, I mean, in this fandom, it's explicit because Power asks Denji to bathe with her, and it's that very cute, ooh, is she flirting with him? And then we flip obviously this is done as a joke. You flip the panel from her going, Nissan, will you bathe with me? And then we flip to them awkwardly showering each other off while being scared. It's a very real take on no, that it's literally she's too afraid to bathe by herself. And then they hug in the tub, and Denji just kind of comes to the realization, there's nothing naughty about this.
Yeah, he even specifically says it. There's a moment later where it's the reason why I say I feel like there's probably a physical attraction, but
They don't have romantic love. They have filial love.
Yes, and even that is just, they're both attractive. I mean, Denji's a teenager. Power is functional. Well, power is, I don't know what power is exactly, but
power is power.
Yeah.
Like there's definitely a physical attraction by how these two characters are always chosen to be posed with each other. Because, geez, do they love just drawing power straddling Denji.
Or wrapping her legs around his waist.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing like beyond this is another attractive person sort of thing. Like their actual dynamic is very platonic and, again, really weirdly for Chainsaw Man wholesome.
It's always really weird when one of the wholesome scenes in a manga is, hey, I'll let you drink my blood. Fine, as long as you stop about it. And then a really awkward nighttime image of Denji drinking Power's blood out of her neck.
Yeah. It's because like things like these, like they just happen so often. It's obvious that any type of spat or dispute or any type of overly lustful emotion has already been burned out, and it's just kind of like I just feel like it has an element of like that these encounters have transpired. I don't know what the time frame is, but over the weeks, months, or maybe even a couple years that they've interacted with each other, and it's just like this is what we're left with.
That's all less than a year.
Yeah. It's got to be less than a year.
Reading through it, it was just kind of like, I also, on that same vein of like, it's very filial love, I feel like the awkwardness, just going back to when they first interacted and, Denji's like, oh, she's female and she's letting me touch her chest and everything.
Yeah.
I feel like behind the scenes, there's been more awkward encounters, but then each time he still deals with power being power. And so it's like, it's almost like completely burned out of his system. He's like, oh no.
Well, yeah, because they're living together and it's power. Like,
yeah, it's a small like 1-bedroom apartment too is the thing. So like, are you playing up? There's definitely been times where Power has been forced to bathe and then came out not wearing any clothes. Like,
oh yeah, and then after so many times of doing that, it's just kind of like, not again. Power, put a shirt on. What the heck? You only get so many nosebleeds until you have to put it with the shenanigans that accompany it.
That's why she does it.
Yeah.
Blood devil.
That makes sense.
It's a really cute chapter. That's really all I can say. And the next chapter is also just kind of cute. Aki wants to go visit his family's grave site, which he does every year in Hokkaido. And unfortunately, he's got an adopted little brother and sister he's got to bring along this time.
Because they refuse to be left behind.
Yes.
All of us were introduced to Aki in the beginning, and I obviously, we didn't see Matt's first reaction to this character, but I feel like, Matt, you probably had the same. Like, we all knew where this character was going. We knew what his character arc was going to be. It's come full circle to the point where spiky shonen boy has learned to love, and he cares about the annoying little siblings that they still annoy him. But
that's great too, because they can't bring the cat with them on the vacation, so they have to have Kishibe watch it, and he's just like, you want any souvenirs? Alcohol.
Yeah, I liked that.
Vibes, honestly.
Also, 100% that cat just sat in its carrier the entire time.
Yeah, there's no way Kishibe took it out.
Well, they told him to watch the cat, and he did indeed watch it.
Oh, yes, 100%. He probably sat it on a table in his apartment and just stared at it. It's a cat, so it probably just stared back, and they were perfectly content with this arrangement.
Look, all I gotta say is I love cats. I was extremely scared for Meowie this entire reading. If any of our listeners out there felt the same way, don't worry. Meowie is fine.
Meowie has been consumed by a devil. I think she can handle herself.
That is also true, yes.
That did happen.
But yeah, poor Meowie does get in danger a lot over this. But yeah, one of the things that I like, and like, Aki's character arc is very expected. Like, there weren't really any surprises, like, all the way down. Like, the moment that I really liked, it's, you know, something that we've mentioned with a couple of the, like, more standard shonens wearing their tropes on their sleeve and not caring, was Aki saying that he was really annoyed that Denji in Power came, but he wasn't sad, and that was normally how he is. And that their shenanigans gave him something to focus on other than being sad. Sad was replaced with annoying, but he'd take that anytime.
Yeah, so he was able to honor his family without getting all mopey. And yeah, Jake said it right. It's very good.
Strangely enough, it's like his new family is helping him heal and move forward.
Yeah, because that's Aki 100%, is he keeps doing stupid things because all he feels is this deep loss, and that's all he's been doing to motivate himself going forward. But, like, he finally realized on this trip to his family gravesite that, like, lingering depression wasn't there. It was finally gone. And he was annoyed. He wasn't a positive emotion, but the fact that he was just constantly steeped in, like, negativity, just normal is great.
And it's something owing to, like, a major theme of Chainsaw Man is that the good comes with the bad. The thing that was so, like, genuine about it, like Aki wasn't, like, talking about how much he loves his bratty, annoying surrogate siblings or anything. Oh boy, poor Aki was put through a lot by these two.
They were eating grave offerings.
Yeah, Power got sick off of spoiled grave offering, and, like, that's so Power. It's something that a normal family would do. Annoyance isn't a happy emotion, but it's not, living in the past, wallowing in, functionally nothing.
Which is actually where, like, Aki goes going forward from this. Is he kind of comes to the conclusion on this trip, he comes back and has realized, like, living only to kill the gun devil isn't worth it if I'm going to lose this new family. Like, I actually have something in my life I care about again. Maybe I'm just content having that.
And so he goes to Makima and says, I want my division to be taken off of the hunt for the gun devil. And when Makima asks him, it's not even that Makima asks him. It's like, I think he's talking about this with Angel Devil to start with.
He's calling in.
Right.
And requesting getting off. And then when Makima hears about this, she brings them in.
Yeah. She calls him in to speak to him face to face.
Makima's all for letting Division 4 off the Gun Devil case. You're always allowed to make any choice you want, Aki.
I just gotta say, I love how when asked why, there is the image of Power and Denji brutally murdered by the Darkness Devil in hell, and Aki just says, I got cold feet.
Because he's not willing to say it, but he does not want Denji and Power to die. His time in hell was like, this is what the cost of this is going to be. I'm not willing to pay that again. So I'm going to keep my family safe. I'm still in charge of these two, so I get to decide we're not going on the Gun Devil case. And that's when Makima goes, of course, Aki, whatever you want. You don't have to fight the Gun Devil if you don't want to. Unfortunately, Denji and Power belong to the state, so they're going to have to fight the Gun Devil anyway, with or without you. Makima! You guys were so happy before.
Still am happy.
I hate Makima so much.
Why? She's just spitting facts. Why are you gonna hate her?
The big thing we get in this scene is Makima said Denji and Power have to do it anyway, knowing full well Aki was gonna go along to follow them.
There was no choice there.
I don't see a divergent on previous Makima behavior. She is manipulative.
I know. There was a real lack of control on Aki's part.
Yeah, really.
Shut up, Matt.
I'm just saying, though, there has not, for me, been a deviation in her behavior up to this point. So I was
100%.
not. Yes.
That is a correct assessment.
And I've never not hated Makima, so you are right.
Me and Jacob almost got you around on the Makima train in episode 2, I think.
Yeah.
Almost. See, here's the thing. I said it once, I'll say it again. Her role in the story is well done, and I like and appreciate that. Makima, the character, I despise. I hate and fear her, but for what she does in the story, she's very well done.
And anyway, as Aki has formally signed onto the Gun Devil mission, finally, Makima can break the super secret protocol around the Gun Devil to inform the trio of what hunting the Gun Devil will entail. Surprise, the Gun Devil is already dead.
Has been for a while now.
Yeah.
Dead, but just like in pieces. So incapacitated.
It blew up.
Because that is kind of an important distinction, because now we know a lot more about how devils work at this point. If it had been killed, it would have just gone back to hell.
Mm-hmm. It's been incapacitated.
Yeah, the reason why the pieces were trying to find each other was because it had been disabled, shall we say.
And was trying to regenerate, yes.
Which is why they pull themselves to each other, which was actually what was established early on, was fragments of the Gun Devil try and find
attract
the whole
each
body.
other.
And we learned that the fragments of the Gun Devil have basically been split among some of the most powerful nations in the world as a form of mutually assured destruction.
They also use it to justify their various devil hunting arms. They can basically get the people to not complain about any government spending as long as they say it's to hunt the Gun Devil. And the scarier the Gun Devil is, the more people are inclined to turn a blind eye to the government's shenanigans.
Also, more directly, the scarier the Gun Devil is, the more powerful their pieces of the Gun Devil are.
It's like devil fear. It's an infinite loop.
More importantly, it means that all of the devils that have had a piece of the Gun Devil that we've fought throughout this were probably given that by the Japanese government.
Not necessarily the Japanese government,
but a government.
I mean, some of them could have been the Japanese government. Some of them could have been other governments attacking Japan. And some of them might have been free-floating pieces that just got found by a devil. And some of them might have been different organizations that were able to find them. But it creates a lot. Because, one thing that was mentioned in, I believe it was the second episode of Our Chainsaw Man, there seemed to be a lot more intentionality to the Gun Devil's actions. It wasn't the Gun Devil that had intentionality.
Yeah.
It was literally everything around the Gun Devil, using it as a screen.
Which is, oh boy, that was something to wrap the head around. Also, the government has been manufacturing guns and arming people in order to continue to increase fear of the Gun Devil for this exact purpose.
The money amount for the guns that the Yakuza got make a lot more sense.
It also makes a lot of sense why, if the governments are so willing to crack down on literally everything possible to cut down the fear of guns, to weaken the Gun Devil, why do they still manufacture guns? A lot of questions that kind of
really get the old thinker thinking in not good ways. But as it turns out, we're not hunting the Gun Devil. The whole plan was to go attack another nation and take their Gun Devil bits for Japan.
Yeah, why couldn't you just say that? Russia and China.
they never get that far along in the plan.
Yeah.
They're going to reclaim the Gun Devil, but in all fairness, knowing Makima, I can 100% believe that's what she said the plan was, to get the Japanese government to do whatever she wanted.
I mean, that's kind of important. There have been a lot of cases where things seem to have been getting out of Makima's control. It actually turns out she was either fine with or was just lying and wanted them to happen, which is going to be something that comes up later.
Yeah.
That I want to point out.
Because Aki goes to deliver this information to Denji and Power doesn't really care because, she's not using her one brain cell to think about it too much. But Denji's like, wait a minute. If the Gun Devil is already defeated and we're not actually going to kill it, we're just going to take some of its bits, then that means I'm not going to kill the Gun Devil, which means I don't get my wish from Makima.
This is why he's not dumb. Very intelligent.
No, because you're kind of mischaracterizing Denji's point there. Denji's saying Makima wouldn't lie to them, so there must be a way to kill the Gun Devil.
Yeah.
Is how he justifies it.
I mean, he's not wrong in that assertion. He's just still in complete denial at this point.
The Gun Devil is alive and can be killed. Like, it hasn't been killed yet. So that's true. He can kill.
It's serving a dark and deeper purpose than just this is bad and needs to be destroyed. The world is a whole lot grayer than perhaps is really being explained.
Yeah, and Denji's not accepted that yet.
Jay, you're breaking open the lid here. You're revealing the deep, dark secret that the Gun Devil was secretly a subordinate of the Dolphin Devil. It's serving a deep, dark purpose. We can cut that, right?
No, I laughed at it. It's staying in.
The greatest enemy of chainsaws was cetaceans all along.
The greatest enemy of Chainsaw Man was hard-boiled cop and dolphin.
Back to the chaos and sadness.
Aki gets his vision from the Future Devil.
He has to say the future is cool.
The future is cool.
The future is cool.
The future is cool. And then later that night, Aki's laying in bed and he's like, hey, Future Devil, I want to talk to you. And the Future Devil, deadass, rises up in front of Aki's window and goes, I only appear when you say the future is cool. Aki did not say that. The Future Devil appeared anyway.
Aki also refuses to say that.
Yes, which I thought was peak hilarity.
Just give the Future Devil this. Come on, Aki.
Yeah.
The Future Devil deserves nothing.
Yeah, that's also true.
But Aki says to Future Devil, that vision you showed me, is there any way around it? Nope, not a single way around it. Chainsaw is going to kill you and Power. Okay. Great. Good. No, and that's about Aki's reaction, except way more stoically, because he is an anime protagonist.
Yeah, he's character developed, but he's still in character.
You know, as Jake said, he's developed his character, but he is still who he is. So he goes to hang out with Angel Devil a little bit. Angel Devil, poor Angel, he lost both his arms, and they did not come back.
Which is interesting. Shouldn't because Denji and Power got their arms back. Why does Angel not get to heal?
And Aki only got one arm back. That's an important thing to note. Aki's one-armed.
I'm not entirely sure how most of them got out of hell.
Makima made a deal to sacrifice Tolka.
And again, this goes back to, I liked the previous part, but not as much as part 2, because I think that some of the storytelling was iffy. Because like when there was that panel, I might have just missed them in the background, but I only saw Denji and Makima get out of hell. And like, that's the character focus, but like that whole section was very confusing to me. So I thought Power was just straight up dead last time. I didn't think she was coming back after that.
Power got revived. And in all fairness, Makima does say, get all of us out of here.
It's a matter of I missed it, but like that kind of owes to what I was saying last time, is that it was great character moments, really cool, like great art, a lot of the stuff that Chainsaw Man does best. Maybe not told in the best way. It was a little bit confusing. As is my understanding, when they got out of hell, the people who had been dismembered like got back together. Because Denji was immediately back in one piece after he came out of hell. But like Aki only got one arm back. And it's like, okay, so Angel didn't get either of his arms back. Can't he just regenerate his? He's a devil.
I don't remember if devils work by the same rules as fiends, in all honesty.
You know what? That's a really good point. We don't know that for sure.
I think fiends regenerate by blood because they've got like a human body, and Power regenerates by, well, Power's a fiend too, actually.
Yeah, Power's a fiend too.
Well, no. One of the first things we see is Puchetta drinking Denji's blood in order to heal from the wound that he had, and he was still a devil at that point.
He's a full devil. So yeah, and honestly, I personally would chalk that up to the power of the Darkness Devil. The Darkness Devil is so powerful that it was able to permanently damage Angel in that way.
As we will learn coming up, devils can have very, very weirdly specific powers. The Darkness Devil might have some specific ability that interacted with Angel in some weirdly specific way. But this is beside the point.
Yeah, it really doesn't matter, because the entire reason why Angel is even in the position he is does not matter after the next scene. So
yeah, they set up like it's going to be a plot point, and then it really just doesn't become a plot point at all, does it?
Yeah, it's Chainsaw Man's masterful way of just completely faking you out at every turn.
I mean, yeah, it's intentionally a misdirect is the thing. Because Angel essentially is saying because he has no arms, they're probably going to euthanize him because he can't use his power without his arms. His touch is what causes him to make weapons. He can't do that anymore. Aki says, well, you can probably get like the same deal the Fox Devil has where you can like grant powers to people. And he's like, I don't know. Oh, you said you've got an unavoidable future where Denji is going to kill you in power? I mean, you could just run away forever. That's a plan. And Aki's like, no.
I'm just saying, Angel Devil is the most like relatable devil ever.
Yeah.
I sometimes seriously forget that he's a devil.
Most of the characters in the manga also forget he's a devil. He has to remind them at one point, you know, I'm a devil first and angel second.
And honestly, that sort of owes to something that's a really important conceit to make the character stuff that especially happened at the end here really land. The devils aren't incarnations of evil, but they're evil because they hurt people. They're powered by fear, but they make choices based off of the exact same logic that any other person does. Hey, there might happen to be a devil that doesn't actually want to hurt anybody. I mean, like, Angel's actually an excellent example of this. Like, He doesn't want to be powerful. In fact, he would be pleased as punch if he had no power, because then he'd be able to touch people.
Yeah, that's why City Mouse versus Country Mouse it resonated so much with him. He's just like, I just want to be left alone and just chill. Or, you know, maybe it'd be better if I just didn't exist. You know, ever think about that? It's very, very, very deep in thought.
He's desirous only of the vibes.
Anyway, Angel and Aki apparently can just leave the hospital Angel's in at any point. And they find Makima on a beach, just standing ankle deep in the water.
Mm-hmm.
As you do.
Just hanging out there at the beach.
Is Makima in her black dress yet, or is that later? I forget.
No, I think she's in casual wear at the beach.
That black dress is on point. So just gonna say that.
But, I like her casual wear too. I mean, Makima looks great in everything. It's just she's really scary.
I don't know. You guys just don't like strong, independent women who know what they want or manipulate people to get what they want.
The second one. It's the second one.
It's that last one I disagree with.
Aki has come to Makima seeking a boon because she knows all the strong devil contracts. So clearly she can probably, if anyone knows a way to get out of an unavoidable fate as told by the future devil, Makima knows how to.
Mm-hmm. And Aki says, I'm willing to make any contract because no matter how much character development he went through, he's still the self-sacrificial anime protagonist.
He's doing this to save his new family, not for revenge. So I would argue there's different motivation there that is character growth.
It's absolutely character growth, yes. It's just he has grown as a character. His core is still there.
He's also still dying next year, no matter what happens. Like, that's a...
He says, I'll make any contract. And Makima turns to him and says, really? Any contract? Oh, that's great. All right. Make a contract with me. And I screamed... I screamed.
Sam called it.
And Aki is like, Aki is also like, what? As Jay put it.
And Makima waits no time. The first time she asked, the second time was an order.
Make a contract with me.
You will give me everything you are, and I will give you strength. Because Aki just wanted strength so that he could stop the thing. And that's easy to do. Unfortunately, he did not make the contract to stop the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a bad genie. Got to be super specific.
And while all this is happening, Angel has a moment of, wait a minute. Why do I like Makima again?
Why do I recognize this place?
Aki also has that moment when he sees her on the beach. He's just like, yeah, I also really like Makima. And then for just a split second, he goes, wait, why?
And
Angel breaks the conditioning a little more and has a full-on flashback.
I mean, he basically remembers everything. Makima is reaching the end of what her plans are. So it's very much the point where things that aren't a threat to her, she's really stopped caring about. So she's so focused on Aki that she kind of forgets Angel is there.
Yep, and Angel remembers his life beforehand, living on a beach with a very much alive community around him. His friends, his neighbors, the woman he loved. And then all of a sudden, Makima walked up to him and said, "Hey, show me your power." "Oh, I don't like using my power. It's very bad for people, and I'd prefer not to. This is an order. Show me your power." And the next panel, it's Angel holding the hand of the woman he loved.
On top of a pile of bodies.
A body of piles.
A body of piles.
Which actually, not incorrect. It switches from the middle of the day to nighttime with that like single panel flip. So he blacks out for a while.
And there's Makima standing next to him in the pile of dead and saying, "You've got a very good power. You work for me now."
Did you guys also get the feeling that before this event happened, Angel used to be able to control his power?
Yeah.
I don't think so, because we don't see him touching anybody. I think it was more a matter of he was just careful not to come in direct contact with anybody. Either of those are equally likely, though. There is a legitimate chance that he could have been able to turn it off until Maki'd all over him.
Mm-hmm.
Ew.
I mean, Makima's power is very gross. She has a flesh halo.
Ew.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure why.
Yeah, that's never really clearly explained.
Well, hold on. No, she has the flesh halo because she takes Angel Devil's powers right now. That's why she has a halo of flesh.
No, but I'm talking about the flesh and just where did she get the flesh?
You know what? I bet it's because biologically she does not have a halo like Angel does, so it needs to come from somewhere, I guess. So it's made of her.
Like, what is the significance of the halo, though?
Her Angel Devil's powers.
Is it just a motif? Like, it doesn't functionally do anything.
It lets her use Angel's powers.
It might be necessary to do the power. Like, that's like a life-stealing organ. Like, it's devil shenanigans. I'm willing to accept it.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to. It's devil shenanigans.
Yeah. And so Angel attempts to use his power to summon up a big sword and go kill Makima with it, using it in his teeth, full Zoro style.
Yeah, all 10 years worth of lifespan's definitely going to stop Makima after everything else that's been thrown at her.
We cut away from this to the Oval Office.
No, we don't. She tells Angel to sit down while he's attacking her, and he stumbles into the sand. He doesn't even make it to her.
Right.
But yes, we do go to the Oval Office, where all good cutaways in the OverMangaCast library go.
Except this time Garfield isn't here. We see the President of the United States standing behind the Resolute desk, doing a little monologue, saying that everything else that we've tried has failed. Makima needs to be destroyed. My citizens, I hope you'll forgive me for the decision I'm about to make. And he picks up the phone and he says, "Hello, yes, Gun Devil? I will give you 1 year off of the lifespan of every single American citizen if you go kill Makima right now. That is to say, I want you to go kill the Control Devil."
Dun, dun, dun.
And it's a full-length panel of Makima just standing there smiling, and it is the worst thing I've ever seen. Yeah.
It will haunt your dreams, Sam.
It literally has.
What I just want to like go back to the whole like the president of the United States being able to offer the lives of his citizenry without their consent. Like, where was consent given?
Without their knowledge.
They elected him. He has authority over them.
I think that's how it works in Chainsaw Man, is because we get another thing later with the prime minister having control over the Japanese citizenry. I think inherently being a member of a government subjects you to like chain of command ownership.
You can use any person underneath you as sacrifice material for a devil contract.
Yeah.
Now, that's probably not something they say on their campaign slogan of "I will not sacrifice you to devils for my own benefit."
And some they might have to because it's been generations. So that might be on your campaign speech. Hey, I will not sacrifice my citizens to devils.
I won't sacrifice the lifespan of my citizens.
You can't trust them.
Yeah.
A very glorious moment where we also learn what time period this takes place in. 1995, the reason we know that is because a situation report appears as the narration going forward through this entire next chapter of the Gun Devil appearing off the coast of Japan and going to attack Makima. As the Gun Devil himself appears, and oh, Lord!
Another outstanding design.
The entrance of the Gun Devil is the most wild thing because there is a church on a cliffside with like a choir singing overlooking the ocean, and we see a huge belt of massive bullets, several of them, drop out of the sky to hover just above the water, and it cuts away to this massive kaiju looking thing with like exposed ribs, screaming faces in its chest cavity, and every other piece of exposed flesh is guns. Its head is an Alucard looking pistol. It's made out of AKs and Uzis, and oh my goodness, I cannot put into words how freaking awesome this thing looks.
It is literally well armed.
Yeah, and it's got the same thing we got last time the Gun Devil was mentioned, where whenever it appears, the page is littered with the individual names of all its victims in alphabetical order.
Because this is a report of this most recent Gun Devil incident. Though we also learn more about how the Gun Devil's powers actually work. They are really weirdly specific.
Specifically, it's like you hear it as if like the Gun Devil itself is a machine, because it has its powers activating like inline, like powers coming online to kill every citizen in Japan, like, and then names the specific island it's attacking, and then narrows down to every shot through the heart, every person born within like every month except a few.
That was the one that I noticed, because it just lists 10 months, and it's like it's a list of months, so you're like counting through and it's like, wait, that's just all the months. And then you notice that like August and June or something are missing. Like I don't know which of the 2 months were.
April and July are not.
It sort of reframes all of the situations where we had characters who were survivors of Gun Devil attacks. The America Bros survived the Gun Devil attack, and then Aki's entire character motivation is all of his family died, but he was outside the house at the time. It had nothing to do with him being outside the house at the time. It was because the Gun Devil just instantly kills everyone who falls under an extremely specific category.
In extremely specific ways, too, because it starts off with just mass slaughter of everyone on this island, and then it gets specific cause of death for specific people. And keeps narrowing down.
I actually pulled up the chapter. It's not 1995. September 12th, 1997. The Gun Devil hits the city of Nagayo in Akita Prefecture, Japan, from off the coast for 12 seconds.
Yeah, once again, the speed of this thing is emphasized. This is not something that you see happen. This is suddenly everything is bullets and it's already over before you perceive what happened, assuming you lived.
And finally, Makima's shot through the head.
I like Makima sights the Gun Devil at a distance of 500 kilometers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she can just do that.
Stop trying to limit women.
I am being impressed by her. I am being impressed by how powerful she is. But yes, the Gun Devil opens fire on everybody, and then also Makima. She gets shot in the head. This is her 29th recorded death. Which means there were probably others.
I wonder which one was the best.
Spoilers, but probably one of the ones where Chainsaw Man killed her.
Oh, yes. Huge fangirl.
Yeah.
I killed me.
That's the ultimate way to get noticed. But yeah, we're not quite there yet.
Makima gets shot in the head, dies. Some of her brain, I think, comes out to form the flesh halo as she regenerates.
You only need a certain amount of your brain. It's okay.
You know what I'm thinking?
What?
I'm thinking that's what killed Aki.
Oh, actually, yeah.
Aki wasn't dead. He was just locked into her like thing where her death can be felt by other people. But Aki is dead the next time he's mentioned.
Oh, that's right, because fiends are possessing corpses specifically.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Neat little detail, I suppose.
Indeed it is. But Makima gets shot in the head by the Gun Devil. instantly regenerates. It probably killed Aki. She gets the flesh halo and then uses Angel's power. She uses a whole bunch of years worth of lifespan.
It's like 1,000 years or something.
It's either 1,000 or 10,000.
She uses a whole bunch of people's powers because they're her subordinates. She uses Kurose and Tendo's contract with the Punishment Devil because even though they're dead, they're still hers. She uses Snake Girl's contract with the Snake Devil, Aki's contract with the Future Devil, and then Angel and Spider Devil to create this super mega attack that insta-gibs the Gun Devil. It is the most power gaming thing I've ever seen. And I love it.
That kind of goes back to last time. I don't feel as tinfoil hatty for saying that Makima wasn't taking her fight with the Darkness Devil seriously. I still think Makima could have taken it.
She would have needed her subordinates in hell, though, and unfortunately, most of her subordinates there currently were dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. So wouldn't have quite worked in that regard for her.
But like the comment I made about their power not being that far apart, like if they're both at their best, yeah, that's...
we don't actually even see the Gun Devil get gibbed. We just see Makima's super mega ultra spend all 10 bars worth of super attack about to hit it. And then it cuts away to Aki's apartment, where Power and Denji are hearing a knock at the door and the phone ringing.
Don't open the door, Denji.
Don't open the door,
Don't
Denji.
open the door, Denji.
And Denji's like walking over to the door, and he hesitates because he remembers don't open the door. Or he has a vision from Puchetta of don't open the door. I'm not entirely sure.
Whether or not it's a flashback of that memory or it's something happening in his head is kind of vague with that.
Yeah.
I you could interpret it either way. I don't think it makes much of a difference.
Yeah, either is valid.
Denji is hesitating to open the door.
Or is convinced it's Aki.
Yeah, they're convinced it's Aki who's home.
I think Power smells it's Aki.
Yeah.
Is the big thing. Because she can Blood Devil sense.
Denji finally picks up the phone, which has been ringing off the hook. And it's Makima on the other line, asking Denji if he's seen the news. And he's like, no, I just woke up. Well, I'll give you the quick version. The Gun Devil appeared. We failed to defeat it. It took over a dead body and got away. The Gun Fiend is now at your door.
Oh, no.
And the Gun Fiend is at the door, and Power smells Aki at the door. Ah!
Makima, how convenient of you to call me just as this was happening.
Denji actually manages to use some of his brain cells, and he's like, Power, I want you to take Meowie and go out the back and leave, please.
Go. Just leave.
He's just getting a real bad feeling in his gut.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because Makima specifically says, the Gun Fiend is there. I'm going to need you to fight it. Don't think too much while you're fighting.
Yeah.
Don't think about anything while you're fighting.
Yeah, leading up to you're going to open the door and you're going to have thoughts. Don't do that.
It's really great because Denji definitely doesn't not think about things while fighting.
Yeah, that's the thing about Denji's character, because like we were talking about Aki's character growth and Denji using some of his brain cells. Like, Denji's changed from the person he was at the beginning. And he can't not think about it because, as we've established, Denji's not stupid. He had just only ever known what he needed to survive in the moment. Now he's lived a life and he can infer what's going on. He's shown that he's sharp, that he can, read between the lines. And he knows full well what's about to happen. He knows why Puchetta doesn't want him to open the door.
Yeah.
But really, at this point, the choice isn't really his.
Well, that's kind of what I'm saying, though, is he is choosing to open the door because Makima isn't ordering Denji to do anything. He's going against what she's saying. He's just opening the door anyway. He's not being commanded.
Denial is a powerful force. The idea that Aki could be defeated and then be taken over by the Gun Devil. Because fiends... Here's the important part. Fiends are basically a consensual thing as far as we know. Like, as far as we're aware, fiends are created when like a dying devil and a dying human make a contract.
That's the only one that we've actually seen it.
No, because consent also could mean that you're not coerced, and situations can cause you to be coerced to make a deal with a devil.
Which is what happened here, because Aki wasn't exactly in his right mind.
Yeah, but Denji doesn't know that, and he would think,
That's true.
the gun fiend is at my door. There's no way Aki would ever do that.
And he hates that thing.
But Power said Aki's at the door. All of this is just, none of this adds up. So open the door. There's Aki with a gun for a head. Oh God, this hurts. This one hurts. Screw you, Matt.
It's real nice.
Snowball fight.
It's great. It's great. They just have a snowball fight.
It's just a fun, innocent snowball fight. There's nothing wrong with this.
So we're going to summarize this as best as we can, dear audience. The chapter itself kind of flip-flops between Aki's and Denji's perspective. Denji is having a really cool Chainsaw Man fight against the Gun Devil where effectively Aki's apartment is obliterated. Then we cut to Aki's perspective where he and Denji are both children having a lovely little snowball fight. The things happening in the snowball fight correspond to what's going on.
Yeah.
And we see a young Aki at the formative moment of his life and a tiny Denji.
Well, the formative moment of his life, because this was the scene that was happening, except Denji is replacing his sickly little brother he couldn't play with.
The big thing is Denji's not really fighting back so much as desperately trying to stop Aki, who now has a gun for a head, and also his missing arm was replaced with a long rifle.
Lest any of you think that this is just a regular gun, no. Pulls that trigger, bang, 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 pull the devil trigger, and it wipes out whole blocks of the city.
Including the random passersby on those blocks. The missed snowballs hit somebody.
And in the devastation, Denji is so heavily injured that he has fallen defeated.
Because again, he's not really doing his normal thing of just throwing himself at the bad guy. Because the bad guy is Aki.
Yeah, he's doing the thing where he's thinking, and he was told not to do that.
He was specifically told not to think.
Trying to save Aki.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's trying to save Aki, and he's calling out to him constantly, and Aki's hearing that as little kid Denji throwing snowballs at him. You're not trying, Denji.
He's really not. In fact, Denji is crying in the snowball vision.
Why are you crying, Denji?
And one of the absolute best moments of the series, something that gets built on multiple times over the course of these past two, Denji is badly damaged. He's barely conscious. He lands right in front of a crowd of very clearly terrified people. Someone pulls out a knife and is standing over Denji. And the thing that I love about this is I was not the slightest bit surprised when that person cut their own hand and started feeding Chainsaw Man their blood.
I thought this comic was called Chainsaw Man, not Spider-Man.
It does have strong Spider-Man vibes now that you mentioned it.
Yeah, it has the city rallies behind the hero moment that happens in Spider-Man comics.
Except in this guy, and they're offering their blood as a contract to the Chainsaw Devil. Please keep us safe.
Yeah, it's it's got all of the lunacy you'd expect from this particular manga, getting a twist on that.
But I just love that moment because we'd called out a couple of times, all the times where Denji wasn't just fighting devils, he was saving people.
Mm-hmm.
People noticed, people remembered.
The people he saved remembered, as we will find later on. Mm-hmm. They're still alive. But so Chainsaw Man gets back up.
Aki's hands are getting cold during the snowball fight. He's not really feeling the snowball fight anymore.
Oh, but Power's here. She must want to play the snowball fight too. And that's when Denji kind of kicks into this isn't a game anymore.
Mm-hmm. And in one powerful move, kills the gun fiend.
I will say there is one thing. The longer I've ruminated on the ending of Chainsaw Man, the more I've loved it. I will call out the parts that I wasn't ultra keen on, though. This is not a mistake so much as I saw something different. You see the future devil watching over Aki, and this was the worst possible death. You were killed by your friend. I personally think it would have been a much worse death for Aki to have succeeded in his goal and expired with nothing to do but to be a burden on his found family.
Well, but that's the thing, is the future devil clarifies what he said earlier. because he's just been saying this is the worst possible death. We get the future devil as Aki's dying. He goes, "Yep, this was the worst possible death for Denji. This was the worst possible way you could die for the Chainsaw Boy."
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah, he does say that. And
I know, I believe you. I believe I missed that.
Future Devil pulling a real Ryukin light moment, so long as we're making comparisons to other comic properties. I have to laugh, because otherwise I would start crying.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty great. And then we do get a nice scene after that where Aki is playing catch with his little brother,
Who comes back out of the house. Denji and Power are gone from the snowball, from the snowfield.
So just me taking a little bit out of everything. When you guys started this and we did our first episode, this chapter, especially that cover page of the three of them, Power, Aki, and Denji as little kids at the aquarium, this was the chapter I had just read when I'm like, everyone needs to read this with me.
And then there's us talking about the scene from Aki's past that we get in the first reading. Oh boy. Hey, fun re-listen game for you, dear listeners. Go back and listen very closely to everything Matt says concerning Makima.
Concerning everything.
Concerning everything, really. Particularly in our third episode, talking about hell and doors, and we have hell at home. God, that one got me.
Yeah, I think Matt might be the Makima of this podcast.
Manipulating great pain into this. So that emotional bomb happens. And the worst part is Denji and Power. They don't know the background of this. They don't know about Makima's involvement. And so they just kind of go about their lives for a bit. Turns out Aki had actually built up a good chunk of change, and Denji and Power were the heritors of it.
And Himeno's family.
Himeno's family got half, and Denji and Power got the other half.
Mm-hmm.
Which was still an insane amount of money for two teenagers. And they...
Yeah.
Spend it how two teenagers would.
Yeah.
I got a nice apartment, plenty of meat.
Some video games.
The apartment was the only thing they kind of skimped on because it was a little on the small side, mostly because they spent the rest of it on video games and food.
Good priorities here.
Fair.
I mean, that's what I'd do.
But the big thing we get is Denji needing to take a break from hanging out with Power to go for a walk at night. And
Completely understand.
he gets an ice cream from a vending machine because he's got no money problems right now. He can get all the food he wants. That's like such an insane luxury to the Denji from like a year ago.
That's what I love about this moment, because it's going to build into a really powerful scene later. But like he's always had incrementally better dreams, and like this is him just moving that one step further up, like his list basically.
But like the problem is he's one step further up that list. He has all the money he could need, but like he feels like garbage. He gets halfway through that ice cream and it's like, this tastes disgusting, because he's racked with guilt that he killed Aki.
He thinks that there's a way that he could have saved Aki, and maybe probably not, but maybe. What if?
So I think I'm going to disagree with that. I think the guilt for Denji, and just because this is the way Chainsaw Man portrays guilt, I think it's full stop just he is the one who killed Aki. Whether or not he could have saved him isn't factoring in, because he still feels guilty about killing his friend. It was something that needed to be done, and when Aki was about to kill Power, that was evident. It is still something that racks Denji with guilt. But anyway, just as Denji's at his lowest on a park bench, guess who always winds up in Denji's life whenever he's feeling at his lowest? Makima comes... Makima's there to make him feel better.
I know. No, she just likes to slide into those DMs all the time. Whenever you're feeling at your lowest, hey there.
Makima calling up Denji for a booty call.
Yeah, totally. She is that person.
They really do their best in this like chapter and a half to make you completely forget about Makima pre-Aki dying. Because she goes up to Denji and is just like, your hands are so cold. You shouldn't be eating ice cream with cold hands. And like really laying on the sugar, like, here, let me warm your hands for you.
That's the thing for me. Like the comment about cold hands, it's less that they're trying to make you forget. It's more that they're not saying it, they're baking it into the subtext of everything. Like at this point, very specifically, because it's like to Denji, it's definitely obfuscating, but to the audience, everything has been laid bare at this point because we don't know how yet, and we'll learn soon. But like Makima's stated goal at this point is to create a world without suffering for humans.
Yeah, that's definitely what she tells people her goal is. The vast majority of people disagree with her definition of that, but
yeah, and
that's the thing, though. I fully believe it because she's not human. So from an outer perspective, and I think there's plenty of sci-fi and like horror movies are surrounding this of like from an outsider's. Oh, humans seem so sad and so afraid. I want to, put them in this environment. I want to fix it. Not understanding like why and the nuances there.
It's a well-worn trope, but it's done well, so.
Yeah, and I'm with Jay on that. There's also the fact that she is the control devil, and so naturally she would want complete control, and believing that any situation she controls is a perfect one. And so if she could just gain control over all humanity, humanity would be perfected. And she would still gain power because they would fear the thing controlling them. But I mean, every other thing that they suffer from would be accounted for and put and removed from the system.
I've got some thoughts on that, but we can talk about that later after we get through the real crucial parts of her.
Yeah, this is the point, and the point that I was making about mentioning what Makima's stated goal was is for like Denji is completely in the dark as usual, but the thing that's like for the audience, like the fact that like Denji was eating ice cream and Makima is talking about how cold his hands are, there is just everything wrong with the universe is baked into every line on every panel from the audience's perspective.
No, 100% Makima would prefer a world without ice cream because eating ice cream makes your hands cold. That is 100% her worldview.
Yeah, that's the way she thinks.
But that's for long. So basically, she takes Denji home with her. Because lost little puppy on the side of the road.
The only thing I envy about her is all those dogs. I'm like, yes.
Can we talk about how she has her apartment is 2 solid floors, and she has like 15 dogs.
Yeah, she's living the dream.
Almost all huskies too.
They're all big dogs too.
They're big and fluffy. I know at least a few of them are huskies. I think some are other breeds.
Which is very questionable because huskies are almost infamously known for being aloof. So it's kind of like she chose the more complicated of dog species and then said, I want to have control over these dogs.
What it seems at first is that she picked the drama queen dog because she wanted something challenging to control, like to assert her power over. Once we get to the end, it's a little bit more complicated than that. But, I mean, almost enough dogs. I would love to be in her apartment.
Just saying. She's doing something right.
Is that a responsible amount of dogs for your Tokyo apartment, though? Like,
she has 2 floors. She has 2 floors. She made space for them.
They each have an apartment. Each of the dogs has an apartment.
Matt is right. It is an excessive amount of dogs, but everything Makima does is excessive. So
she loves to live her life, and you keep on shaming her for it.
The big thing about Makima is we spend so long in this supposedly 2-floor apartment, we never leave the living room. Specifically the living room couch.
But I mean, hey, we got everything we need in here, namely
almost
dogs.
Enough dogs.
And Jacob's just in the corner playing with the dogs.
We get so many great panels of Denji just being jealous of how much attention the dogs are getting.
And they're like jumping onto Makima and licking her face, and he's like, damn, I wish that was me.
He basically articulates that and says, hey, I want to be a dog because then you would give me attention.
Specifically, Makima breaks the question to him. What do you want your wish to be for killing the gun devil? Because technically he did. He killed Aki, who was the gun devil. I want to be your dog. Which is great because the next chapter immediately opens up with Makima going like, hold on, what? Explain that, please. That's a really weird sentence you just said, as if that was the ending of a chapter.
Wait, what? I mean, not that I'm gonna like dissuade you, but what?
I need you to articulate what you mean by that.
I like where this is going, but just for clarification.
And he says, I got a life, but life is complicated. Life requires thinking. It requires making moral choices. All that's kind of bull. Dogs ain't got to worry about that. Dogs just be dogs. I don't want to think. I don't want to make choices. I don't want to experience guilt anymore. I just want to be a dog, man. And Makima's like, excellent, correct answer.
Yeah, because Denji essentially at his lowest point is realizing he was honestly happier when the happiest times in his life have honestly been when he's not been making decisions for himself. When people have told him what to do, because for some reason, every time he makes a decision on his own, it blows up and falls apart on him.
Every time. I wonder why. Who's sitting?
Because there are a couple of cases where he's made decisions, but like because the only thing in his head right now is what just happened with Aki, that's the only thing in his head.
Same thing happened with Reze.
The stuff with Santa Claus.
He was following Makima's orders to defend her. He in fact woofed.
What I'm referring to is his big speech at the end. That was pure Denji. I'm the hero of I'm the shining hero of fire and stuff like that.
Yeah, like when he was talking about how Santa Claus better come to town on any day except a Sunday.
I mean, fair. I would say he's not actually making a decision in that statement. He's just gloating to the thing he's fighting because he was told to fight it.
He is asserting himself as a person, and that's the important part. But the key thing in this moment is he's not thinking about that, because the only thing in his head is what just happened.
Regardless, his big thing is he does not want the guilt associated with making choices. The negatives of it far outweigh any positives he has gotten from it.
Makima's like, all right, excellent. Now, you only reply to what I say with woof. You will obey everything I tell you. And, who's that at the door? I know who it is.
Who's at the door, Denji?
Who's at the door? It's Power. You're going to go open the door, and I'm going to kill her.
I think initially she says you're going to kill Power.
She says you're going to open the door, and I'm going to kill her.
The way that she's setting it up is, I'm going to do the killing, but it's going to be your fault because you're the one who's going to open the door.
We have just a beautiful tableau of a panel of Makima leading Denji by the hand to the door, walking right past Paradise Lost of Lucifer falling out of heaven. Oh boy, the heavy hand of symbolism. Clearly, Tatsuki Fujimoto, well, we knew this the entire time, but he follows the creed of, I know writers who use subtlety and they're all cowards.
And despite Puchetta's protests.
Don't open the door, Denji, please.
Denji goes to open the door and he thinks Power will be on the other side and she'll be holding a birthday cake. Why do I know that? Right. Tomorrow's my birthday. And he opens the door and it's Power standing there with a happy 17th birthday Denji cake. And
It's so cute.
It's so cute.
She's got the sweat drops down her head like she was ordered to do this.
Oh god, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, Power doesn't want to be here. Power has never liked Makima, is a thing that comes up again and again. Power is afraid of Makima.
This is also not the kind of thing that Power would just do either.
Yeah.
Because as much as they have a sibling relationship, Power is the bratty younger sister.
Yeah, she would totally want to eat that cake herself and be like, why do I have to give it to Denji?
If she ever did something like this, she would show up with a plate with crumbs on it, not an actual cake.
Yes.
Makima points a finger gun at Power, goes bang, and her torso vanishes.
Yeah, in case you didn't need to know that Makima currently has the Gun Devil's powers at the moment, there you go.
And Power's legs and severed head and arms fall to the ground in a pool of spreading red.
Oh, and it's great because the next chapter...
The worst tragedy ever.
I hate Makima so goddamn much.
I think you'd be a great team.
It's great because you think the next chapter would cut scenes to something else because that ended on such an impactful thing. Nope. The next chapter opens up with, from Power's head's point of view between her severed legs, the door closing.
Uh-huh.
I mean, her purpose has been fulfilled.
But like, that's the thing. As an audience, we are being forced to stay in this uncomfortable atmosphere. We don't get to leave. We have to watch this because Makima walks with Denji back to her couch.
She sits Denji down and she flops on the couch, falls over to have her head in his lap, and begins laughing uproariously.
This was an interesting moment for me because, like, I mentioned stuff about not trusting Chainsaw Man. When this initially happened, my immediate reaction was, oh, the movie theater scene was bullshit. Glad I was so invested in the character. And then I said, wait, stop. Chainsaw Man has proven itself by this point. Stick with it. See where it goes. And thank goodness I caught myself because boy, was I rewarded by the end of it.
I also told you the movie's theater scene was relevant when you latched onto it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's very much the case where I had that reaction, but I have to point it out. The beginning really killed Chainsaw Man for me. Once we got to the point with the movie theater scene, wow, I love this series, but I've mentioned it other times when we've talked about, like, recommendations for Chainsaw Man. It's a problem that I bounced off of it so hard. I would not have gotten this far if it wasn't, a podcast read.
How much of a problem though, Jacob? Because like, it's not like it's bouncing everyone off, and everything is not made for everyone.
I understand that, but here's the reason why I call it out, because some of it is taste. But here's one of the big problems that I had looking back on it. There was the moment when, like, the French kiss thing, and when we were talking about it on the podcast, nobody said to me, Jacob, that's obviously a joke. Because none of us read it as a joke, even though it was. While there is an element of taste to it, that it's fine that not everybody is going to be into Chainsaw Man. Because, like, if you can't handle gore, you're never going to get into Chainsaw Man. Like, just for example.
Hey, hold on, Jacob. I definitely said it was a joke. Because I'd also read most of Chainsaw Man at that point.
I don't remember you mentioning that. And Sam and Jamie were talking about how it was in character for him to be wishy-washy. I remember that very distinctly.
I still contend that is in character. Like,
Who? What are we talking about?
Denji, the moment in the bar.
Yeah, the French kiss thing.
Yes.
What I'm asserting is that the beginning of Chainsaw Man is rough. The more I've ruminated on the ending, the more I've liked the vast majority of Chainsaw Man. But the beginning, and like another thing that bugged me from the beginning, was they proved their point narratively about how awful Denji's life was, and then they threw the heart thing on too. Like there are a bunch of little things. Chainsaw Man pushes things too far.
The heart thing is why Puchetta is his heart, though. Like, that's why the heart thing's in there.
Puchetta is his heart because he got dismembered.
His heart was always going to be faulty. That's why Puchetta specifically replaced his heart, whereas other fiends don't replace hearts.
It doesn't need to do that, though. Like, that's something that...
Okay, anyway, this is all a conversation we had in episode 1, so no need to retread ground here.
But yeah, I just wanted to make the point that, wow, I really loved basically all of this, but it reminded me of that.
But the beginning was tough.
Yeah. So, moving on.
Which, valid point. Makima laughing uproariously about what just happened. And it's here where we get to the part that really just solidifies for me exactly why I hate her so goddamn much. Because we have established that Makima has super hearing. She hears basically everything on the entire planet as far as we know.
She hears through animals, right?
Yeah, we specifically got confirmed that last time. The rat devil and the spider devil and, like, all that.
Probably others. Probably lots of others.
And so we know that she heard Denji and Puchetta, specifically we know she heard Puchetta in the dumpster after Denji was chopped up by the zombie devil and gang saying, "This is a contract. I'm going to bring you back to life so you can live a normal life because I liked hearing about your dreams." Makima wanted to break that contract to create a situation for Denji so impossibly vile that the idea of living a normal life would be impossible. And so he could not fulfill the contract with Puchetta. And so she gave him normal life. She gave him a family. She gave him a job, a purpose, and then ripped all of it away. And just to add insult to injury, she's like, "You were never worthy of living a normal life anyway. What son who kills their father would be?"
And it was here that I feel like she missed this is again a huge reason why it's very apparent that she's not human, because you missed the context in which, he had to perform patricide. Mm-hmm. It wasn't just like, I just hate my dad and arbitrarily I'm going to kill him.
I'm not 100% on that, because I am still of the mind that's kind of just how Chainsaw Man treats guilt. Because the argument is not that what the argument Makima is essentially making here is, not only have I brought you up and then cast you back down, I'm not doing anything that has broken you. You were broken to begin with because you've done this in your past. And they do concede it was self-defense. His alcoholic father was beating on him, probably accidentally, because his father also had a bunch of gambling debts. And Denji kills him in self-defense. But I think what the point of Chainsaw Man is not that, that was justified killing. I think what Chainsaw Man is saying, that's still something you have guilt about. Mm-hmm. You can say it was justified, but that doesn't take away from the fact you are a son that killed your father. That's because one of my immediate reactions to that was Makima is talking to Denji about this, here's this horrible thing that you did. To me, a member of the audience, it would be a more horrible thing that Denji did if he just hated his father. Even if it wasn't they were arguing and he got mad, if Denji just killed his father on a whim, that would be more horrifying to me as an audience member. But the stuff that you're saying about guilt, I wasn't sure how I felt about it being self-defense, but I think I get it now. The sort of important thing is that Denji shouldn't hate himself for protecting his own life. Guilt isn't rational. And that's the thing, though. It's what she's saying is you are still someone who murdered your father. That is not a normal thing people deal with. You will never have a normal life because you are always going to know you did that. You have locked it away behind your childish little self-conscious thing, but that's not something you should be able to run away from. You can't pretend you're a normal person. That's not normal. And
yeah, but I think my thing is she's very obviously not helping him. Even if it's you're still a broken person, I can bring you up, I can build you up, take you down, but you were just fundamentally she's not helping him work through that. She's just look at you, you're flawed. And she doesn't want to help him work through it.
Yeah, exactly. She wants
yeah. This is the final nail in the coffin, because what she's essentially saying for the contract was not only have you broken the contract because after what I've done to you, you can no longer live a normal life. Let's be honest here. That contract was null and void to begin with because you are a patricidal child. Mm-hmm. You were never worthy of a normal life because, frankly, I mean, say what you want. That's not a normal life.
Yeah.
That's a lot to deal with that he didn't deal with.
Well, he couldn't have. He didn't have the resources and the situation he was under. I mean, he needs to be put. Everything needs to be put in context. So to say that he didn't deal with it, yes, that is absolutely true. Could he have dealt with it? No.
Guilt doesn't care about context.
Yeah, let's keep this in the context of what I'm talking about, which is in the psychological Faustian bargain he's making. It has value.
In the Makima being an external representation of Denji's inability to forgive himself, no matter how justified he may be. The point isn't, could Denji have dragged himself out of this and lived a normal life, accepted his guilt, moved past this trauma. That is immaterial. The thing that is important is that
Denji still feels guilty about it.
Denji still feels guilty about it. And Makima is in the workings of the story an external dramatization of that.
I'm not disagreeing with it. I'm just saying that I think we're just talking about two different things.
We are. That's
Yeah. And by the way, that's what was behind the door.
little baby Denji seeing his father die after he, I think, hit him with a knife is the implication. They don't go real into it, but
that kind of goes back into the idea of showing in detail what happened could maybe give Denji's reeling mind context into maybe what he did wasn't so bad after all. It's very much the way that a child would see, his father dying in front of him by his own hand. The more detail they give, it was something that I took note of when I was reading that, again, from an audience perspective, it would be more horrifying if Denji didn't have a justification for it. But
the point isn't to horrify the audience.
It's not for the benefit of the audience. This is what guilt is. Makima is basically playing the part of personified guilt.
Yep.
Both diegetically and narratively.
And
the more I ruminate on the back half of Chainsaw Man, the more I love it.
It's really good. But we don't have a lot of time to stew in this metaphorical minefield, despite how long we've done so in this very podcast.
Oh, can we focus on how the flashback ends? Because I love that scene. It's Makima in Denji's flashback kneeling down to him and going like, "Aw, do you see what you did? Do you really think you deserve a normal life?" And little baby Denji crying and just goes, "Nuh-uh." It's real poignant for Denji because he is catatonic on the couch.
Yeah, I just remember being really viscerally upset.
It's supposed to make you upset.
Mm-hmm.
If that doesn't, the next panel definitely does, of Denji full on catatonic on the couch as Makima happily eats breakfast with her dogs around her. And it's great because it's a 2-page spread, and the pages are perfectly separated with unconscious Denji's body just vacantly on the couch, and the other panel is happy dogs trying to eat Makima's breakfast.
I'm still stuck on the fact that I don't think that was a role that was necessary. I see you all made good points, but I think I just interpreted it very differently. And I'm just I honestly think that it was just going for something different there. And it was executed to the point where it was just kind of Makima was just trying to execute control, obviously, but in a way that was not to bring real realization, but to control.
Yeah, because guilt is a controlling emotion.
Yeah, I think we're agreeing on that.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm incorrect, Jay, but you're thinking that you're looking at this from a very in-universe Makima's grand plan perspective.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. We're looking at it from analyzing the meaning of the story aesthetic, being a bunch of freaking nerds over here, and we're all reaching the same conclusion. Makima.
Yeah.
No, I like her.
Okay. Yeah.
In universe, the big thing is I don't think Makima knew this was the case until she got control of the future devil at some point. So I don't think she knew this about Denji from the beginning. I think she just knew what Puchetta's contract with him was, because I think Denji told her.
Well, no, I'm pretty sure she heard it.
I also viewed it from a point of Makima is not only trying to instill guilt, but she's also, more personally assuming the role of a bully.
Yes.
That's sort of also wheeling back around to something that we're both getting at at two different ways, where the I think I'm using this term correctly, ludonarrative aspect of Makima representing guilt metaphorically, she's also directly being guilting Denji to gain control of him in the story. They work together and reinforce each other in a really clever way.
Mm-hmm. Busting out the big vocab word. Welcome to the club, Jake.
I'm pretty sure I used that word correctly, but if I didn't, you can comment on YouTube or our Twitter at OverMangaCast to tell me how wrong I am.
We always appreciate hearing from you, especially how bad our opinions are. And yep.
Yeah.
or just encouraging us to read more Kill 6 Billion Demons coming soon. But
Okay.
we've got to get to a very important thing here. One of the things that we need to take note of is throughout all of this, Denji and Puchetta by extension have been called the Chainsaw Devil, the Chainsaw Fiend, Lord Chainsaw. The only person who's ever referred to him as Chainsaw Man was Kianji the First Hunter, which is interesting to note, but that's more backstory stuff for later. You gotta wonder, why is he called Chainsaw? Why is the comic called Chainsaw Man?
And why did the news call him Chainsaw Man? Because we see some news reports talking about that.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
They've been slowly building up over the course of this section of the reading.
We get this revealed to us as Makima steps outside of the apartment and into the hallway to see a line of people who have died in this comic in various states of dismemberment, kneeling to her like knights before a queen.
She is a queen.
And power.
Who only has her head and legs there.
I mean,
Yes.
Beam is just ahead.
Beam is
but
just ahead.
Yeah.
at this point, this is like this is the thing where it's like liking Makima the character versus liking Makima the person. This is just twisting the knife. She already got what she wanted. She's just flexing at this point to someone who's basically catatonic.
Yeah, Denji's catatonic, so she's showing this off to her. Like, this is purely for her own spectacle.
Which, honestly, I appreciate the flexing. You gotta gas yourself up.
But essentially, she walks Denji past all these fallen allies who have cleared the path to bring forth this day. What is this? I was about to say my dear Denji, but that's a bit out of character for Makima.
My dog.
What is this? Yeah, my dog. If that. You're going to come back to me, Chainsaw Man.
The day of resurrection.
The day of your resurrection.
And it's at this point that a rocket-propelled grenade explodes the hallway.
Oh my god, I love this panel so much. Of all the guys in suits and
Yes.
Kishibe calling over the radio of just like, the anti-Makima squad is here. And I'm like, ooh, I'm going to save this panel because I know I'll need this in the future at some point.
It is my logo. I will make it my Twitter profile picture. But direct hit. Anti-Makima squad perform the sacrifice, and a whole bunch of people all put knives to their throats and say, "Hell Devil, we offer ourselves up. Come forth and kill Makima." And they slit their own throats. And Makima stands up in the rubble of the explosion as the Hell Devil manifests. And she says, "Chainsaw, save me." Denji's intestines rip out of his stomach, wrap around his neck, at first looking like a leash, but then it becomes like a scarf for a superhero. Weird, huh? And then the transformation. He becomes not the Chainsaw Fiend, not the Chainsaw Devil. He is Chainsaw Man.
The hero of hell.
Because Puchetta was a comic book superhero.
The whole time.
The whole time.
That tracks. When you're a lonely kid in a shack, you're all alone.
Well, specifically, Chainsaw Man, as like the devil that devils fear, his whole thing was he would go around hell wherever someone said save me, he would rush to the scene and destroy the perpetrator and also the victim and also anyone in between. He got
Make noise.
part of superheroing down.
I mean, to be fair, he is made of chainsaws, so it's a little bit hard for him to, carry victims to safety.
I think we need to describe what he looks like. We all know at this point what Chainsaw Mode Denji looks like. He's got the head, he's got the arms. Very cool. Chainsaw Man has the intestine scarf the head and the arms, and then the rest of his body has become this like berserk armor looking black metal, and he has grown an extra set of arms with even more chainsaws on them. He is a 4-armed heavy metal monster.
And like the metal armor is like, it folds the way flesh does. It's not like just like plate metal or anything. It's like it's black metal made of meat.
Yeah. And he goes to engage in battle with the Hell Devil, handily kicks his ass. One of the Anti-Machina squad, bleeding out from their slit throat, is like, you get to die when the job is done, and pours some of their blood into the Hell Devil's mouth to revive it. It wakes up, grabs Chainsaw Man, pulls him into hell. And we cut away from the blood and chaos to Kishibe, who has somehow, he's fast, I guess, has gotten into the apartment and is holding a gun to Makima's head.
Kishibe was always in the apartment. He was calling into the Anti-Machina squad.
Gotcha. Right. But he's holding a gun to Makima's head, and she's like, you know that's not going to work, right? My contract with the Minister of Japan means that any wound I suffer will cause sickness, misfortune, and death to a random Japanese citizen. And he's like,
pretty good contract.
Pretty good contract, yeah. You know, Kishibe's like, whatever, I still need to destroy you. Makima looks at Kishibe out the corner of her eye and says, do you remember what the Nazis did to the Jews in World War II?
What the fuck's a Nazi?
Yeah. And this is the part where Makima explains that she is a Chainsaw Man fangirl. She says what his power is. Not only is he, you know, an incredibly powerful monster that can chop anything up with his chainsaws, but if he eats a devil, he erases that devil from existence. And the thing that they were a manifest fear of is also erased from existence.
Forward and back. They cease to exist historically, and people's current memories of them disappear. And then obviously they can't exist moving forward because they never existed at all.
So Nazis, AIDS, nuclear weapons, humanity's sixth sense.
You know, bad things.
4 different alternatives to death at the end of life.
Yeah, that one.
Bad things.
I mean, if it was a devil that got eaten to erase it, I assume so.
Well, the reason why it could be construed as bad is because, you know, it's a root of so many conflicts and so many wars over who's right. So if you take it away, there's nothing to fight over, right?
Yeah, yes, exactly. And it's like, well, suddenly this explains why everything is so weird in this. Basically, every major trauma of the 20th century didn't happen.
It got eaten.
All of humanity's collective neuroses for that entire century gone.
So here's the big thing, too. The things that we just mentioned are the things Makima can remember. Mm-hmm. There's definitely countless other things that have disappeared.
Because she talks about how these things I'm listing off, I barely remember the names. Don't even remember what they were for most of them. And I'm sure I've completely forgotten some.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm the only one who even remembers any of these names at this point.
And she talks about how she is Chainsaw's biggest fangirl. All this time, my power gives me the ability to command anything I consider to be weaker than myself. This whole scheme of mine was to end in one of 2 ways. Either I defeat Chainsaw Man so completely that it lowers my estimation of him to the point where I can command him with my Control Devil powers, or he defeats me and kills me permanently. Either way, I become part of him, and I win.
Devour me, senpai.
Eat me, senpai.
Eat me, sensei is a very different.
Yeah.
Makima explains that what her motivation is she wants Chainsaw to eat all of humanity's fears. And then with all of humanity's fears gone, they'll live in eternal bliss and happiness, right? One of the big elements of Chainsaw Man is that suffering is a part of life. There's cases where there's too much suffering, and that's bad. But, you know, in addition to it being so natural, one of the things that made the Aki going to visit his family's grave moment so great is that having a family doesn't make the bad things go away. That's what living is. It's accepting what's happened to you, not automatically teleporting to a better place, but moving forward. And if there's no suffering, there's
no progression.
And it's a trope that's been done before, but like, this is one of the most like laser focused on that idea.
But don't you see that Makima is making everything better because she says it's better?
Makima's plan isn't to remove all of humanity's fears. She's going to be selective with what is destroyed.
She's making it in her image, and her image is the better image.
Yeah, that becomes real clear.
You are wrong, puny humans.
The way that she talks about it is, I see humans the same way as I see my dogs. They're my pets, and I want them to be happy in my little world the way I want it to be. Because she's the control devil.
So basically, just as she's done at the end of this explanation, Chainsaw Man fought his way out of hell.
And speaking of hell, one thing that we sort of touched on beforehand, what's up with all the doors?
What we find out is up with all the doors is humanity locks their like sins behind doors.
And that's what hell is made of.
Yeah, it is of these repressed fears and like guilt and like... Because guilt is the secret ingredient that makes a doll rather than just a mindless thing. Like, guilt also has power in Chainsaw Man. It just doesn't get brought up as much.
Yeah,
like,
and that's a big part of the reason why there's a bunch of like random things that had been sacrificed strewn all over the field within hell, feeling guilty about making contracts with devils.
They don't really go into like the mechanics of hell and like devils and things because so much of the series focuses on Makima, and that just kind of makes that part of the story null and void. But like what I like to consider is my personal theory is that devils naturally can go through these doors, and they're naturally aware of like people's like guilt and hidden like insecurities, and they are able to use that to make contracts with people. They can like wheedle their way in because all devils make contracts. Some just don't like to as much as others, but like, yeah, they clearly do it for a reason.
It seemed to me at least that people had prior contracts with, for example, the Darkness Devil, who we know for a fact
has never died,
had never come to Earth.
But yeah, my little headcanon theory is the reason Puchetta found Denji is because he left hell through Denji's little door. That's why he knows what's behind the door. And what he saw was a sad little boy who needed a friend.
And that's probably why instead of being, big, strong Chainsaw Man, he was just Puchetta.
But we'll get there later. That's that.
Yeah. He either reduced himself in some way or
Chainsaw Man has ripped his way out of hell.
He hears somebody say, "Save me," and it's Kobeni.
This poor girl. After this entire section, I feel like we need to have a GoFundMe or we need to have a campaign to get Kobeni a halfway decent date. The past 2 dates have been so traumatic.
It's one of those ones where Kobeni, when in the first section, was so loathsome. She's the kind of character where like the immediate reaction would be, oh, she deserves whatever she gets. I think she's paid her penance by this point for what she did.
Yeah.
It's tipped over into actual pity now.
Well, it's great because we just hear someone say "save me" in the distance, and Chainsaw Man disappears rather than helping Makima in her current situation. And we cut to after the giant violence we've had so far to Family Burger. The entire kitchen staff needs to sing a song about the ingredients of a burger whenever they serve a burger. And it's great because each individual member of the staff has like pickles, lettuce, tomato, bun. Kobeni is unfortunately the one who has to deliver the burgers, and she's bad at her job and is getting physically assaulted by her boss.
It's the idea that it's like, okay, they're selling they're shedding some light on the toxic image that's kind of associated with small, like, family businesses. Not exactly the healthiest relationship between their staff. because they try to really hammer home the sense of, you belong, you're a member of our family. By the way, we abuse our family, and you're going to like it. And you're going to perform the way that we want you to perform, which is perfected, which is like perfectly each and every time. And poor Kobeni, I don't know if this is supposed to be like a compensation. I don't know if she has not an accent, but a sort of
a speech tech.
Yeah, speech tech.
Given everything she's gone through, she's neurotic, is what it comes down to.
Yeah, but I mean the idea that, hey, if we're trying to be an actual supportive family, as opposed to this very harmful and toxic type of family who are not going to, accept you for who you are, or, try to, constructively construct you or work on you, you're going to have, she's very openly, not just verbally, but also physically abused.
Oh yeah, the manager's teaching style is, I'm going to smack you till you stop messing up.
He even says so. He very directly says that.
But I mean, it stuck out to me because, especially when they're like, "Oh, we're family here," at I forget the name of the burger place.
It's literally like Family Burger.
Yeah.
But I mean, like the fact that they had to say, like, "We're all family here. We take care of each other," and then just like so openly like beat the crap out of her and tell her that she's useless and that she just does everything wrong, and that I'm going to hit you if you even think of saying again. Or it's just like, okay. So really highlighting that toxicity there.
I think it's also to like give you a firm reason to not like the characters, because you get about half a page before Chainsaw Man bursts into the scene to save Kobeni, and in process of doing to chops off one of the staff members' heads.
No one's walking out of there with a head. Let's just be that clear.
And we have a wonderful sequence of Chainsaw Man standing there, having a flashback to Denji saying, man, he'd really like to eat a burger one day. And he sits down at the booth and goes, also,
they force Kobeni to take his order. Yeah, Kobeni's forced to talk to him because no one else wants to deal with the dude who just cut off some guy's head.
And with his motor revving voice, Chainsaw Man orders a burger. Kobeni goes to bring him the burger, and in her fear and terror and probably the spreading blood on the floor, trips and flings the burger all over him. And everyone freaks out.
You forget my favorite bit. When they make the burger, they do the same song they just did previously.
Except one of them is the head on the floor.
Yeah, one of the guys was killed, so he doesn't sing his topping.
Chainsaw Man's motivations and actions are fairly random at this point, but another head rolls for this mistake, and it's almost one of those ones where it's like they start yelling at Kobeni, and the guy making the most noise gets liberated of his head next. So they try again with the song again, except now there's two toppings missing.
And Kobeni trips again. And she's just lying on the ground crying. And
that's great.
And you blame her, though.
No, I can't blame her. I feel so bad for her.
After the initial scene, I can't blame anyone for what they're doing, because the manager is very within his rights to go, way to go, Kobeni, you're going to get us all killed, because she does mess up twice. Like...
Mm-hmm. And then the manager breaks down thinking that it's a hidden camera prank show.
This has got to be fake, right?
That's the only logical explanation. We abandoned logic a long time ago on Chainsaw Man. In this, we took logic, gutted it, and threw its remains into a volcano.
Anyway, Chainsaw Man eats the Borg that almost made it on his plate and goes, tasty Borg, and then has a Denji flashback to, I really want to go on a date with a girl. Chainsaw Man looks around, Kobeni girl. Kobeni will do. And
Kobeni nearest girl. But he doesn't have hands. He just has chainsaws. So he picks her up by wrapping the intestine scarf around her waist.
Yep.
And carries her away crying.
And appropriate response.
They go for ice cream. They get ice cream, and Chainsaw Man cuts up the ice cream vendor into a million pieces. And they go on their date. Which Kobeni's not having a good track record with ice cream dates.
No.
Yeah, I was gonna say, this is the second time she's been on an ice cream date with a supernatural entity.
I'm just saying, I'm not surprised. I'd be surprised if she ever wants to like eat ice cream again.
This one has even more bodies than the last one.
Yeah, the other one that we saw actually started out pretty nice. It was the ending that was the problem.
But it's like, what else do people do on dates? I don't know, play DDR?
Dance.
You mean they don't?
And so
That's an ideal date.
yeah. No, I mean, seriously, yes. But they find a DDR machine, and Chainsaw Man says, dance!
Transformer woman, dance.
And Kobeni starts dancing, because what else is she gonna do?
It needs money. Slices ATM in half. Okay.
Never played this before. Dance.
And she starts dancing, and Chainsaw Man is just sitting there with his knees tucked up to his chest watching. It's adorable.
It's strangely wholesome. Don't mind the blood over there.
No, Kobeni crying and dancing. Chainsaw Man in his little pub. It is. Look, this scene is already a gazillion things. A single iota of wholesomeness is not out of place.
So as we leave Dance Dance Kobeni, which if you're interested, someone made a flash game where you play as Kobeni dancing. So go check out Chainsaw Dance if you really want to play that.
Link is in the show notes. I don't know if we
now I got to remember to update the show notes.
But alas, the date is interrupted as Makima shows up with the Simp Squad, also known as a whole bunch of devil hunters who were brutally murdered over the course of this manga, and also Reze.
Reze, Katana, and Kianchi.
And about 4 other people that we haven't met before.
Well, we wouldn't know them at all, in fact, because we get established pretty much immediately that the 4 who are not the fiends, in fact, I think it's even implied that the fiends are also not the fiends. They are not humans, nor devils, nor fiends. They are strange kind of existences that have been consumed by the chainsaw, yet still exist for some reason.
They're echoes of what they once were.
Yes, they're echoes of what they once were. And okay, here's the way I read it. Chainsaw Man defeated Katana and Reze, and in the process, he was working for Makima. So that means that Makima defeated Katana and Reze, and ergo, Makima has command over them. We know Makima personally killed Kianji, and we don't know how the other 4 died, but presumably Makima was involved in their death as well.
Yeah, that's the implication.
Well, no, the other 4 are explicitly said they no longer have names because that has been consumed by the chainsaw. Like, they've been explicitly gotten rid of by chainsaw. Like, presumably before he became Denji.
Yeah.
In that case, I have zero idea. Let's start the rumble.
Oh, yeah, no, we can dig into when they're revealed my questions about how, I'll just reveal it now, because apparently the things that no longer exist in Chainsaw Man universe are flamethrowers, whips, spears, and long swords by the chainsaw and no longer exist, and never have existed.
The thing about that, though, the simplest way of like thinking about it is like there's like a pocket dimension where the things that she controls exist. So that's why she's able to barely remember a lot of the things that Chainsaw had eaten. Mm-hmm. She can remember things because she controls, for example, people who, I don't know, were maybe Nazis or knew about Nazis before Chainsaw Man had consumed, the Nazi devil. So she...
that's a thought.
Right?
I don't want to even think about the Nazi devil.
It's essentially Helsing, but...
Yeah, she's able to call on these people because, her power to like control like who they are, what they are, and their powers is still within her, and that's what's tethering them. That's why they retain their personalities as well, because Kianchi is really into Makima.
All of them are. We called them the Makima Simp Squad for a reason.
Yeah.
Because they are basically promised, or they make a bet amongst themselves, that's it, that whoever kills Denji gets to go on a date with Makima.
She does agree to it, to be fair.
He does. Also, whether or not they liked her or she told them to like her doesn't matter.
That's also true.
All we know is that Makima is hot and Kianchi's into ladies, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yep.
That just seemed in character to me.
Yep.
We get some really cool devil fights, but the big thing to take away from is, despite the fact it is 7-on-1 against Chainsaw Man is trouncing these fools to the point that Makima from the sidelines goes, well, this is an unwinnable fight for us.
And like, we're not going to go into super detail on this fight, because honestly, it is just, imagine any high level shonen action battle from the perspective of a mortal watching it, and that's basically what we're getting. And so, but I want to highlight one thing in particular, because it's actually a Chekhov's gun. Makima uses her own power to launch Chainsaw Man into the freaking stars above, sending him straight up into space. At which point, Chainsaw Man reaches into his own chest, rips out Puchetta, yeets him back down into the planet, and my absolute favorite panel in this entire manga, nothing else compares, happens, because Puchetta burns up in atmosphere, turning into Chainsaw Man, sitting crisscross applesauce, arms crossed like he's something out of Asura's Wrath, falling down from the sky. It is the coolest image in this whole manga. It's been living rent-free in my head for a week.
And it's great, because essentially they keep fighting. Makima is killed 26 times by Chainsaw, but Chainsaw is refusing to eat her.
You've been rejected by Senpai. How does it feel?
Well, Makima tells us how it feels.
Makima has to play her trump card.
This is the reason why I called back to mentioning like Denji talking about being a hero last time, and the thing where they set it up like the civilian with a knife is like a fake out, like the civilian is going to attack the devil, but no, they understand that, you know, Chainsaw Man was there to save them. Makima's trump card is
the adoration of humanity.
How did the news get wind of Denji fighting the Typhoon Devil? And the whole world is cheering for the Chainsaw Man, the hero of humanity, and the slayer of the Gun Devil.
And we see a flashing series of news clips of people gathering in the streets, rallying, Chainsaw Man, Chainsaw Man.
And we see interviews with the people that Denji has, like the background no-name characters that Denji has saved over the course of the story, talking about how, you know, they were saved by him.
I like how this confirms that the girl that the Muscle Devil took lived, because we weren't sure about that when we read it initially.
But here's the thing. Devils draw their power from fear. And while all devils might fear Chainsaw, if humanity doesn't, that's a lot of his power gone. And we see that as his wounds suddenly begin catching up with him. And so since she still has the power of the Angel Devil, Makima summons up a weapon made out of 1,000 years of human life and yeets it right at Kobeni. But Chainsaw Man is a hero, and he takes the blow, dies.
Specifically, when Makima's doing this, she's talking to Kobeni, who's still dancing. And says, "Oh, no, Kobeni, you're very crucial to this plan. He's a hero. He'll try and save you." And then attacks Kobeni, knowing Chainsaw Man will come out of anywhere, and took the blow.
I think it's also very important to note, Kobeni got a perfect score in Dance Dance Revolution.
Well, because, yeah, she'd die.
Was it on hard mode? I need to know. Was it on easy? She's never played this before.
I think she just entered a nirvana state, a state of absolute fear, making her incredibly powerful.
I mean, she has shown the power of Ultra Instinct before, so.
So anyway, we cut to inside the Chainsaw Devil, where Power is there and is being woken up by Puchetta going, You gotta save Denji.
And we have an absolutely amazing moment of Power going, aren't I dead? Didn't Makima kill me? Then how are you here talking to me?
That makes sense.
Are you Chainsaw? And it's just a panel of Puchetta smiling. It's so cute.
Yeah, Puchetta's great.
It really goes to show that, we made a bunch of jokes about how, like, Puchetta was one of the top characters in the polls, like, early on in Chainsaw Man's history. But, like, boy, he shows that he has someone lost presence to Puchetta, but, like, he's had more of a stake in this and had, like, been setting up a lot more than we realized.
Yep.
It's shown. He's a much more active agent than he had been presented as.
And Puchetta says to Power, you are the blood that you had Denji drink. Manifest out of that with the power of the contract I'm making with you. I want you to return as the Blood Devil and save Denji. Power's like, okay.
Puchetta says, eat my flesh. You will gain the power to revive. Like, a lot of power, too, because Power comes back as full, like, Blood Devil power.
And she looks very silly, and I kind of love it. She has like a cartoon depiction of a dragon head.
I kind of got like a weird angular cat vibe from her.
Oh, that too. Actually, yeah, no, I think you're closer to the mark.
Why she likes Meowie so much.
Essentially, she pops up, grabs Denji's dead body.
Power has returned. I am the greatest.
Yeah, she attacks Makima. Makima then summons the zombies, which, in case you didn't expect that Maki was behind the zombies in chapter 1, here's your confirmation. And essentially what the big deal is Power surrenders to Makima immediately, going like, nope, I give up, I'll join your team. Ain't it great? And then chapter flip, haha, I was just lying.
Power is power.
Power is power. But Makima says, Power, be a good girl and hand over Denji's body. And she's like, okay. And Puchetta in the void or whatever is like, come on.
It's a really
Why does it have to be Power? But like that's sort of the thing, though, because as power is, Makima is absolutely asserting like her powers of control over Power, and then Power is so weak-willed and will always choose the winning side. She immediately does the thing you expect Power to do, but she snaps out of it.
Yeah, before she finishes handing Denji over, she's like, I can't do it. Damn this new morality. And she runs away carrying Denji. And they hide in a dumpster.
It's very much that energy that she's mad that she has the like willpower to do this. It would have been so much easier to just give in.
Mm-hmm.
And it's great because they're in that dumpster. Power is straddling Denji because I guess that's the only way they can ever be drawn together. But neither here nor there. As Power has said, I have revived you with my blood. That's why you're not currently dead. And Denji goes on this whole, like, I gave up living, Power. You don't understand. I'm fine with what was happening. But then Power's like, that's dumb. You're my friend. Didn't you have fun living with me? And he's like, yeah, but you're dead now. That all ends. He's like, nope. Because the Blood Devil is going to be reborn. And she's going to need a friend as cool as you. I'm going to make you a deal. I'm going to give you all of my blood, all of my remaining life. And what you got to do is you got to go find the Blood Devil and be her friend. And Denji's just like, oh, well, I guess that's a goal to live for.
All these devils telling Denji to live. Isn't that awful?
And much like he did in chapter 1, busting out of the dumpster screaming Puchetta's name, he busts out of another dumpster screaming Power's name.
I'm just saying it's kind of ironic that he, as representing like the lowest point of humanity, has to be encouraged to continue living by devils as opposed to other members of the human race.
Power is his friend. Like, and sometimes when you're in a deep funk, what you need is someone you trust to go, hey, I know you're going through some stuff right now, but I'm your friend.
But it's funny because all of them had to be devils or fiends.
Power's a fiend.
Like, I feel almost like devil is a misnomer.
Well, yeah, the thing is, devils in Chainsaw Man are functionally still people. They make choices. The relationship that Power had with Denji really changed her and really had an effect on her.
Mm-hmm. And the most important thing to note is devils are manifestations of human fear. What's more human than a manifestation of a human emotion? Denji wakes up. Oh, hey, Kishibe, what are you doing in this dirty alley? You know what I usually do. Hey, you want to hide from Makima? Yeah. All right, I've got Kerbeni here. Let's go into the bunker.
Oh, just so vibes. There are just so many characters I just vibe with, and I'm like, yes.
Yeah, Kishibe is an entire mood.
Let's get to the Makima bunker. I have several.
Yep. We get to the Makima bunker. Yeah, it does. But they get to the Makima bunker. Kobeni's having a breakdown, as she's wont to do, and I don't blame her. I really don't.
Yeah.
Can we talk about how Kishibe's actual plan is we're just going to hide from Makima for the rest of our lives?
I mean, this has got to be planned like ZZZ.
Yeah.
He's already expended A through double Z.
Yeah, you can't say he has like immediately given up. He's tried pretty much everything.
Oh no, Kishibe's plan failed. He's been defeated. Kobeni is constantly in a state of defeat, and Denji was already in deep defeat, and just for a second, power like brought him not even like to full like I want to live. He's like, I'm enough to be like conscious and walking out of here, but
I'm no longer catatonic.
we see Denji watching TV, and he sees how many people love him. He sees everyone shouting out how great Chainsaw Man is, and he just is overwhelmed with, wait, no, that's right. I was Chainsaw Man, and I helped people. I took pleasure from that. That is a purpose for living. Hold on. My goals don't just end once I've achieved them. I can keep making new and better goals. Like, I wanted a girlfriend, and that was Makima, and she turned out to, like, betray me. Forget that. I want 10 girlfriends. Puchetta, I'm gonna have tons of sex. Like, I can keep going for bigger and better things.
It's also, he saw how many people loved him. He saw how many girls were in the crowd screaming his name. Which vibes.
Potential girlfriends. Yes.
That scene is so great. Basically, this is Denji saying I want things. And like he feels guilty about wanting like all these unattainable things. But like this is the first and most important and hardest step for Denji to come to a place of finding self-love. Like it's okay to want things, you know, and
it's okay to strive for them.
He's been in this situation his entire life where his only goal was getting the next step further, you know, for survival. And hey, like, you know, like wanting 10 girlfriends, that's something a 17-year-old boy wants, you know? That's not just survival. That's wanting to live. And it's not something that he had up until that point.
And like that's inherently greed. And like that's fine.
That's human.
It doesn't make him a bad person for wanting that.
Talking about callbacks, I said it in the very first episode where we discussed this manga. It doesn't matter how small and petty and self-serving your dreams may be. They're your dreams. They're valid. Denji's not going to die before he touches some tits. And frankly, that is an absolutely beautiful message caged in a whole lot of blood and vomit.
Which really is just Chainsaw Man.
Favorite character. I'm just like, he knows what he wants. Very simple.
Yeah, exactly.
I think also the thing that I liked a lot about it is it's very clear that even in that moment, Denji's still not in a good place. He feels guilty about this. So it doesn't feel like cheap or unearned, you know? Like it's not like it took him too far.
He's overwhelmed with emotion, and he's specifically responding to Kishibe saying, no, we lost. We need to just turn our tails and hide for the rest of our lives. And he's just like, no, I want to do things. I want things. And even if my dreams are crazy and unattainable, I'm going to fight for them, which is why...
Even if they're sleazy, I want them.
Yeah, that doesn't devalue them is the thing. But like... neither here nor there, because they go to bed and Denji wakes up in the middle of the night or maybe he didn't even go to sleep. Irregardless, he's been thinking, I want to be Chainsaw Man, and to do that, Makima needs to go away. Makima's smart, infinitely smarter than me. That's something we can at least very much agree on.
Even if you take away that he's uneducated stuff, Makima's still smarter than him.
Yeah, like, and I'm going to need a plan to kill her. And then, like, the second he gets to that part in his mental line of, like, I'm going to need a plan to kill her, he gets flooded with all these positive memories of her. And he's just like, I can't kill her. No matter what I said, no matter what she's done to me, at the very end of the day, I still like her. I've still got a fondness and affection for her, and I can't bring myself to hate her.
They understand each other in a way that, can't be described in words.
Yep.
They have a connection.
This is actually the key, because Denji wakes up Kishibe and tells him the plan, and he's like, this is a fucking stupid plan. Yeah. Do we have anything else? All right, I'll get the van. And we cut to Denji in a graveyard in chainsaw form, crouching on a cross, which is such a great tableau of an image, by the way.
Oh, can we appreciate the fact I can only assume the mangaka at this point was like, this final battle is going to take a lot out of me. Hopefully I can get away with a background that's only stick crosses.
Yep.
A lot of white.
Makima and the Simp Squad shows up. Why are you Denji again? And he says, I guess you didn't break me as much as you thought you did, huh? Okay, kill him. And then, Denji, not handily, but he does end up defeating the Makima Simp Squad.
No, he doesn't. They beat the crap out of him.
Well, they do beat the crap out of him.
He's able to take down some of them, but he can't beat them all.
Yeah, because Makima pities him at the end, and she's just like, okay, you really are too weak. I have to fight you one-on-one. That's why she shoots herself through the hand to give Denji the blood to revive him. And she's like, I'm the control devil. I'm going to 1v1 you now to firmly place into my mind and yours that I am better than you, and I will control Chainsaw. Like, that is what she's doing. Mm-hmm. So she has her Simp Squad. You're right. Some do die. Not all of them, though. But,
the thing is, Denji has gone from being the Chainsaw Man that was like
the Chainsaw Man she wanted.
Yeah, and he's back to the Chainsaw Man he was, when he fought Santa Claus, basically, which is a damn powerful fighter, but not enough to take on 7 or 8 people who are roughly his power.
But Makima and Denji have their duel. It's brief, it's epic, but Makima gets the upper hand, and then she whiskers him right through the chest and rips Puchetta out from his heart, right out of his chest cavity. Denji falls to the ground dead. Makima pulls out a cigarette of victory, smokes it, cuddles the little Puchetta, and says, now that I have Chainsaw Man, you're going to become mine. I'm going to control you. We're going to sleep together so much. It's going to be great. And then she hears a revving noise behind her.
From the pile of bodies.
Best panel in the manga. I take back what I said earlier.
It has so much catharsis because from the pile of bodies, you see standing up, wearing a kind of like poncho, I think.
No, he's wearing a suit. Like the other ones.
Oh, yeah. He's wearing the suit, and I thought he had like a head thing on, but maybe I'm wrong. But anyway, He's wearing the suit disguised as one of the things, and strikes at her with a chainsaw. Just Denji holding a chainsaw.
A regular chainsaw.
Well, not actually regular. It's actually made from Power's blood, but
but it's not manifested out of his arms or anything. It is like it looks like a chainsaw you buy in a hardware store, and he carves her right up the stomach and through the sternum with it. And she's like, "You idiot! You think this will really kill me?" No, I don't. But this chainsaw was made out of Power's blood, which has now gone into your veins and is wreaking havoc in your body, making you unable to regenerate very fast. Oh, look, and there's Kishibe pulling up with the van. Well, I better make sure I get you into a movable package size.
Yep. And then we just cut to Denji's apartment.
Denji's apartment, as Denji walks over to the fridge, opens it up, and it's full of pre-prepared meals. Just absolutely completely filled. Like some of them are suspended by makeshift ropes to use up all of the all of the available space in the fridge.
Yeah, it's not pre-prepared meals, Sam. It's butchered meat.
Well, yeah, it's butchered
he's making all the meals.
Yeah. Well, it's the ingredients for the meals.
Yeah.
I should.
And
it suddenly becomes Shokugeki no Soma for a second.
Yeah, I'm surprised. He's learned how to make some really good meals. Seriously, growing up in almost the wilderness and being fascinated by getting able to eat, a full meal.
Fancy stuff.
Yeah. He now has his own kitchen, own apartment, and he's just like, I want to make some dinner. Yeah.
You see all the meals he makes. He makes a lot of like some ginger pork and or some ginger meat. It's kind of weird. Like a lot of the things he's make, they have to specify that there's no vegetables in them.
Which is not surprising though, because he's Denji and
Denji ate his vegetables.
No, maybe he does it because he's, has power inside of him, and Power hated vegetables.
Power was what was keeping him alive, because we reveal the Denji that got killed by Makima was his heart. Was Puchetta formed a Chainsaw Man like he did when he got sent back from space, and Denji in his body was being kept alive by Power's blood, and he used that to form the chainsaw, which killed Makima, and then got his heart back because he needs that. But Power is gone at this point.
Yeah, that's why I said that Denji or Chainsaw Man throwing the Puchetta back to Earth was a Chekhov's gun. Which I like to think this means there is a Chainsaw Man body just floating up in space right there with Cars from JoJo Part 2.
I think technically that is what that means, but we've drawn this out long enough because Kishibe eventually reveals, Denji reveals to himself all this meat in his fridge. They carved up Makima because Chainsaw needs to eat every last bite.
He's been cannibalizing Makima, turning her into various meat dishes.
It's okay, Makima's not human.
She really did want Chainsaw to eat her, so I mean, strictly speaking...
Which, in all fairness, is what Denji was saying was, I'm not going to kill you. I want to become one with you. I want to understand you.
I'm eating you out of love. And apparently that works for the contract.
Kishibe literally says to Denji, you lucked out. Her contract with the prime minister must have been worded in such a way that it only deflected threats against her. And because Denji never intended to kill her, he intended to eat her, which is not the same thing as far as devils go. That stopped her contract from protecting her. And the big thing was why that plan worked at all was because Denji kind of has the somber realization that whenever he was with Makima, and probably he had this realization as he was going through all those memories of the good times they had together, as much fun as he had with Makima never really saw him. She only saw the chainsaw.
Yep, that's Denji's take on it, which I'm not entirely sure I agree with. I know Jake doesn't agree with it.
Yep, that is one of the coolest moments. Another important thing is, at this point while he's talking with Kishi, we're introduced to a strange little girl who bites Denji's finger, and he recognizes that bite.
The Japanese have found a way to create a smaller, more efficient Makima.
Kishibe says, this is your responsibility now. This is the new form of the control devil. Noyuta is her name?
Yes, found in the rural regions of China.
There was something that Denji had been doing, especially as he started to come out of his funk after the bit with being broken and everything, where he'd give people a peace sign to show he was okay. This new control devil does that to him, and considering the way that Makima is, with how meticulous all her plans are, I find it odd. For all the not seeing Denji, it's not like she didn't perceive his existence. What Denji is saying is she never cared about me. I feel like, how could she not recognize that Denji would get back up when people were cheering for the Chainsaw Man? There's a valid interpretation that she literally didn't perceive him. But I think also another way of reading that, and I think supported by the fact that Noyuta does that peace sign bit at the end, I think that Makima, at least at a subconscious level, really did see Denji too.
Not sure I agree with that. Let's get through the remainder of the plot, and then we'll hit that up in the discussion.
Yeah,
because I'm sure that's going to be the main thing. This gets revealed, and then we get a kind of interstitial scene where Denji is dreaming, and he is having a one-on-one conversation with Puchetta, which has not happened since the beginning of the manga, where Puchetta is responding to him. And in fact, actually, Puchetta only talked to him very briefly in the beginning. But Puchetta is essentially expositioning Denji, I just wanted to be hugged. But because I was made of chainsaws and everyone was scared of me, no one would give me hugs. So when I got kicked out of hell and was a cute puppy, you gave me hugs. And that's why I like you, Denji. Also, you gotta understand, the Control Devil was like me. The Control Devil just wanted to be loved. I probably shouldn't do this all in the goofy voice. This might be mildly annoying. Essentially, that the Control Devil just wanted to be loved and could not have an equal relationship with people because either if they thought they were better, their power dominated them, and they had relationships of fear, so they would never have an equal like love, like a platonic, like same level love. And
well, the kind of relationship that Denji and Power had.
Yep. And Puchetta is essentially just like, Genji, I know you're a good guy, and you gave me a happy life. That's why I gave up my life to be your heart. I need you to make the Control Devil fulfill their dream, to be loved. But how do I do that, Puchetta? Just give them lots of hugs. It's a cute little scene of Denji hugging Nayuta in his sleep.
Mm-hmm. With all of the Makima dogs, and and why did she pick Huskies, a notoriously moody breed that's hard to control, in a vain hope that they would somehow resist her?
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then we get a little ending sting of hey, did you hear about the Chainsaw Man? He's that hero that saves people. I heard he only saved girls. Did you hear he was a high school student? And then we cut to Denji with a like shit-eating grin, revving up his chainsaw.
It's so great. He suddenly becomes like a standard shonen protagonist in a lot of ways. His entire mood has changed. The melancholy that he never really shed until that ending like talk with Puchetta, it's gone now. Like this is where we go from here. And one thing that I really liked is end of part 1, public safety arc, and then after that it's just the end. Like that's such a perfect way of ending it, because it's like there's more stories in that universe, but that's the end of the story.
Yeah. I get the feeling that he had like a plan, because Chainsaw Man was very clearly like written out in full. So I think what happened was, as he was getting to the end, he was like, this is really popular. I don't think I'm going to be able to get away with just saying this is the end of everything, because it's a great ending. Just there's more stories to tell.
And the thing I like about this is that's such a clear and concise ending to that story. It would not be unreasonable to tell anthology stories in that universe, and, you have this story of someone finding, self-love and, this, like all these themes about life isn't just, eliminating the bad things or just surviving. It's life. It's holistic.
It's a really great "and the story continues" ending.
I think the mangaka has done some interviews about what he's planning for part 2, and I think I think the main consensus is what he wants to do is not something that's inherently Denji focused, because Denji's story is kind of been told. Maybe something
very wrapped up.
But yeah, that's going forward. So let's get some discussion about I guess the first series we've finished. So congratulations, everybody!
Woo!
Let's crack open the ice cooler in a completely different order to throw everyone off. Jay, who was your favorite character of Chainsaw Man?
I do not have one single solitary favorite character of Chainsaw Man. I have multiple. First and foremost, Denji. From the beginning, he stole my heart. I love Denji. He's amazing. Dynamic. He's Chainsaw Man. And I'm so glad that he is working on achieving his dreams, because he is worth it. Second,
I hope he gets those 10 girlfriends.
I would be one of them. Puchetta, for reasons. I know everyone else doesn't, but Makima, in my own way. I think it's because I stopped trying to overanalyze what the heck Makima was, and I just had to appreciate it for what it was. Makima is I can't explain it more than Makima was manipulative and controlling, but she had these ideals that she believed were right, or correct or whatever. And I guess in her world, you believe this was correct. I can't, and I'm not saying that that's the best reason to like Makima, but I feel in a sense that she was the most genuine.
Yeah.
I think that's a very good reason to like.
Yeah,
Makima.
that's a great reason. And yeah, I totally agree with that. The most duplicitous character in the series was also in many ways the most genuine character in the series in a weird way.
She was completely genuine to herself.
Yeah, not saying that it was correct, but it was very genuine. And it's like, I don't agree with it, but I can appreciate it. I get it.
Yeah, I mean, what she was doing was wrong, but she had genuinely good intentions, and you gotta kind of appreciate that.
But what's the road to hell paved with?
Yeah.
Well, doors.
Okay. Yeah, the road to hell is paved with doors.
Doors. And last would be power. So yeah, that's like 4.
Yep.
That is 4. Okay, Jacob, who's your favorite character?
Definitely Denji, 100%.
What a turnaround from episode 1.
That I liked most about Chainsaw Man, then he annoyed me. But like Himeno I really liked, but my gosh, what a character journey. And honestly, I love that, like, because it's like, mentioned a couple of times that he's like Arrested Development, the character, like the fact that he wants to be a superhero and that he basically does it, the places he goes to and, coming out on the other side, being able to like, accept himself and stuff like that. And like the other thing that's nice about Denji's character arc is none of this is ever like directly stated to the audience. So much of, what this story is built into the subtext. Really brilliant things like how Makima is both guilting Denji about killing his father, but also a metaphorical representation for his guilt, despite the fact that it's easy to argue that his self-defense, it was justified. Seeing Denji go to those low lows and then climb out of it is so cathartic. The smile he has at the end is like, I love that smile. He's not an animal anymore. He's a person. He's the person he was always supposed to be. Makima is also definitely high up on the list, largely because Makima facilitates that character. She pushes him down, but also, and again, it's very much the case where it's not an invalid read to say that this was a pure random chance, but like, with the way that the theming is crafted and the way that Nayuta treats Denji in the ending, I feel that at some level, like, the Control Devil did understand who Denji was. And honestly, just kind of feel like Makima knew she was wrong. They mentioned that the reason she is the way she is because she was raised by the Japanese government and was like taking a very cold and analytical approach to everything. I feel so hopeful because I do really believe that, before Makima, now Noyuta, and Denji do really get each other. And like, I didn't think they'd get a happy ending where they get to be together in the end. Like, it's not like Denji and Makima are a couple or anything, but like, what an unambiguous, like, for all the bittersweet, for all the characters lost, what an unambiguously happy ending for Chainsaw Man. Like, yeah. I did not see that coming.
I would definitely use bittersweet to describe it as opposed to happy, but yeah.
Happy for Chainsaw Man, though. Like, relative to Chainsaw Man, that's a happy ending.
Relative to everything in this manga, yes.
Sam, who's your favorite character?
Yes, we're running a bit low on time, so I'll just keep it quick. It is, was, and always has been Denji. I love this boy. I want to see him grow, and I did, and it was fucking beautiful.
Yeah, and Matt here, to say any other character, especially for this last chunk of reading, than Denji, like, this is so much Denji's story at the end.
It is.
Like he would be my favorite character of this reading, and like of the series overall, this is Denji's story. Like, it's about him, and it's so purposefully about him. It's great. So yeah, I'd go with Denji. So final thoughts on this series finale.
Man, I don't think I've ever seen a story in universe scream its message at you so loudly in such an abstract and chaotic way. A lot of Chainsaw Man is about the struggle for purpose, and then you see the complete insanity that happens, the chaos and madness that seems utterly purposeless. And it feels like it's laughing in the face of its own message. But then we get the ending with Denji. It is an exceptionally strange read. It kept that energy all the way through to the end, and I appreciate that.
Chainsaw Man takes you into the depths of depravity. I guess part of one of my concerns, especially early on, and like that moment where I had that really negative reaction of, oh, I guess my investment in Makima and Denji's relationship was complete nonsense. I guess I'll just be depressed again. And like that twinge of fear came from the idea that like, I really hope that this doesn't just like say that life is hopeless or something. And like, it couldn't be further from the truth. Life's going to kick you in the balls. It's going to happen. Bad things are going to happen to you. But you know what? Life is still worth it. Have dreams. Believe in something. Get up, in the morning and move forward. And to some extent, that's something that I've needed in my life lately, funnily enough. And just like the fact that, because like, again, like so many people died and there was so much lost. But like the message of the story is like, you're going to be okay. As long as you keep going, you're going to be okay. And like that amount of light was just so unbelievably cathartic for me. And I will just say, I'm going to say it again, the idea of like the way that ending is framed, it is such a perfect capstone. This story is over. If you're really, really, thirsty for, this world, for these, characters, for diving back into this universe, the basically setting up perfectly. So if you want this story to be in your heart forever, like, a Chainsaw Dog, for example, you can just hold it there. But also, it's setting it up so that, you can see these, characters again if you so choose. And I love stories that do that. Like having a story that can just like blindly go on forever, you're going to get bored of it eventually. So like you need to have endpoints in a story, but I also like, revisiting, worlds that I know and places and characters that I know and seeing what they've been up to. And the fact that Chainsaw Man does that in such a clever way of, it's like, you can just pretend that if like they come out with a, Chainsaw Man Part 2 and it's bad, you can just ignore it because like this story is a complete story.
Yeah, and Jacob, I think I said this in the very first episode. Chainsaw Man, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. You're just gonna have to fight for it. I've got my one thought I want to concede, because I did say we would talk about this later, about how I disagreed on, like, I viewed the relationship in a different way with Makima and Denji, because what I took away from that scene in the movie theater, specifically them watching the movies and then suddenly they're crying at the very sad movie, I didn't see that as the connection between Denji. Like, Denji and Makima don't have an innate connection. Puchetta and Makima have an innate connection. They are both lonely souls who feel like no one can get close to them. And that sad movie is what they like, because when Denji starts crying, he has no idea why he's crying. That just happens. And like, that kind of brings forward the whole message of the reason Makima, like her foil, like her tragic downfall, is Makima only views people by what they can do for her. So whenever she saw Denji, she saw Chainsaw, she saw the facilitation of her plan. She did not see the guy named Denji. Because in fact, at one point, when Denji says, "What kind of guys do you like?" she says, "I think I like a guy like Denji." Like his heart, maybe. Like, so much of it is she only sees people as, like, what they can do for her. And the fact that that brings about her undoing in the end is, like like classic, like tragic story writing is like she brought about her own downfall through her arrogance. And that's why the big thing is when Denji's realizing I want to understand her, because clearly the connection I think we have is so one-sided. She's not in love with me. She's in love with Puchetta. Or not even Puchetta. She's in love with
Chainsaw Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, and that's like the huge disconnect of like.
The thing about that, I want to make a point of saying that's a totally valid read, and what I'm about to say doesn't discredit any of that. But here's an alternative read, because the thing about Denji crying in that scene, I've watched movies and spontaneously started crying and not understand why myself. I've been in that place before. And I think that Denji, Puchetta, and Makima are all connected to each other. The way that I read it, it's, you know, it's the story of the three of them. Because, like, Denji is also someone who no one was ever able to love him because he was just, you know, like, he was treated like an animal. He wasn't treated like a person. And I think Denji shares Puchetta and the Control Devil's plight. And, you know, a really important thing is I don't think Makima consciously recognizes any connection that she has to Denji in particular. And, you know, it's a valid read that there is none. That's a totally valid read. But I also think that, you know, because of the way that Noyuta acted around Denji, I feel like there is, you know, like, it's left open-ended, that there is also evidence that there was a connection between all three of them. You know, that tugs on my heartstrings more.
Yeah, and valid. I guess my main conflict with that is the one line Denji gets when he finally is like agreeing that he's going to like do this plan with Makima is when he's on the cross. Makima is just like, oh, you're Denji, but like he doesn't even really respond to her. What he says is, hey, Makima, in this perfect world you're gonna make, are there still gonna be bad movies? And she goes, I think I'd prefer a world where bad movies didn't exist. And that's like Denji's motivation to go, well, I guess this has to.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And there's also a thing to note. Quite literally, in the final battle, she only saw the manifestation of Chainsaw Man. That was a Puchetta ripped out of Denji's heart. Denji himself, she didn't notice him on the ground. Again, not saying that Jake is wrong, but like the evidence for why Denji thinks that is pretty high.
And like Denji believes that Makima, like Denji believes that the connection is one-sided. But I think that the reason he gets out of his funk in that last scene where he's having the powwow with Puchetta is because he's recognizing that maybe it wasn't completely one-sided.
I read that as Puchetta giving him more. Like how Power is saying, go find the new power, or the new power devil, the new blood devil, make friends with her. Like, that's motivation to live. That's just more motivation of, this is more things I can do with my life. Like, it's not over. There's always new, better things, which, I mean, fair, but there's clearly not enough in what we have to really get a definitive answer either way. So
that's the thing, and that's what I'd like to impress upon the audience. This is very much a case of it was intentionally left open-ended, and whichever one speaks to you more is the one that you should adhere to.
Okay. Final question, everyone. Would you continue reading Chainsaw Man? Haha, you can't. It's over.
Woo! Part 2, can't wait.
Unusual.
You see, this is a marketable media franchise, therefore it will never end. Cries in Dragon Ball. Oh, wait, what's next on the reading list?
We're continuing Revisit Month, everybody, because it is Dragon Ball. We are going back into that with a chapters 24 through 54. The OG Dragon Ball, once again.
Make sure to read that by next Thursday. And then always, if you've got any thoughts on what you're reading or just any thoughts at all, reach out to us on Twitter at OverMangaCast. Leave us a comment on YouTube, OverMangaCast. We've got an Instagram and a Facebook. You could go like those. OverMangaCast all over. It's a
send us your equally valid third interpretation of Denji, Puchetta, and Makima's relationship, and tell us why both Matt and myself are wrong.
Oh, no, 100%. If you've gotten to this point, I am imploring you, please give me your thoughts on the finale, because half of the reason I started this podcast was to talk to people about the ending of Chainsaw Man. Like, yeah, we always appreciate hearing from you. I would really love to hear your theories. That's not even a lie. We will all love to hear them.
Yes.
But yeah, like, review, comment, subscribe. All of those things are great for us. And especially if you've got a series you think we would really enjoy and you'd like us to read, please reach out. We'll put it on the list. Like, we're really open to things.
But with all that out of the way, good night, everybody.
Good night,
Good
everybody.
night.
Night.